Good afternoon, everybody. Nathaniel here for another broadcast with the American Ricci Mahjong League, joined by Blaine. We're joining a game already in progress. How's it going, Blaine?
Hey, pretty good. Having a relaxing Labor Day here and ready for some action here in the ARML on this Monday afternoon. And yes, things are very much underway right now. Look at this dealer's hand here from Mathstar or Matthias. Already an Anko of the 6 and an Ipeko even ready to go here. Could even turn Rian Peko in some situations. That would be pretty interesting if that comes off. But then again, we are just 10 tiles away. So this isn't exactly a starting hand.
Yeah, even Jason on the left with a pretty strong hand as well.
But can you make these convert in the last few? And it looks like Lin there might have a chance going 10 pi for the 2 and the 5 pin.
Although this looks like this doesn't have a Yaku outside of Sanshoku. I guess Sanshoku would require the 5 pin, which is the Dora.
That is true. Yes.
But all 5 pin held in hand currently. Seems unlikely to come out at this point. So
looks like just trying to get in for the Ryukyoku.
And indeed, that is what occurs. So Lin grabs the 3,000. We'll move to East 2. Well, I'm glad we caught the end of that round.
Absolutely. Didn't miss much here. East 2 is going on now. The door is 2, Mon. And this starting hand already has a Yaku locked in for our dealer, Sophia, also known as Molly. And so that's going to definitely take a burden off and get some stuff really set for the rest of this hand now. We did see the West called early across the table, and for that hand, it is the seat wind, and we do see some pairs and a sequence already locked in. Looking on the right now for Lin's hand, we see some shapes beginning to form up with some pairs and whatnot. There's another pair picked up. We'll see what they do there. And over on the left on Matthias's and Anko in the Sozu. And two Ankos in the Sozu now. So really good start there for Matthias.
Absolutely. South call from Lin, aiming to build a cheap 1,000 point hand unless this can be converted somehow into Toy Toy. And questions posed to Molly, who might be considering shifting to Honitsu in the Dora suit, the Manzu.
Yes, indeed. You've got definitely some options there. As dealer, you might want to look at just taking the quick way out of this.
Toy Toy is a valid option as well. Here's an interesting question. Do you call this for Bon? And Molly says yes.
He does.
So it looks like we'll not be building towards Toy Toy, but Honitsu, a definite possibility. Or again, as you said, the quick route to Tenpai is valid as well. Especially now that the player to your right has made 3 calls, you expect them to be Tenpai, and you might need to speed up your own hand as a result.
And depending on what you drop, you will be Tenpai. And yes, Shanpon wait on the 7 pin and 3 so.
Ooh, so this is also Tenpai for Molly, but she does not take it, choosing instead to discard away from the 2 pin pair, so greeting for that Honitsu.
Very interesting move here.
With that
it's early on in the game, so really any kind of lead you get is a good thing.
With the Anko of
quick.
Yeah, with Anko the Haku in hand, the extra Fu that you might be able to squeeze out of this could turn this into 7,700. Although with that Chi a little bit less likely.
And now Shanpon on the 6 Mon, 8 Mon, and there's the 8 Mon. Right away, claiming a Honitsu and Haku.
Yeah,
for
because
6,100 points with the Honba.
Only 5,800 because the Anko was not contained, totally self-drawn, but still a very nice pickup, and the greed paid off for Molly in that situation.
Absolutely, and now we'll put that Haku over on the Dora indicator spot. Hatsu, then, is the Dora this time, the green dragon.
Yes.
I'm seeing a few pairs to start with in this hand, but otherwise some work ahead for Molly this time. In Lin's hand over on the right, some structures, a sequence already locked in there, a couple in fact, with a pair of the 1 pin. A cross in Press X, also known as Jason. He has got a few pairs going on here and some good encouraging shapes. And on the left on Matthias, Anko of the East's already locked in. That's a Yaku. And quite a few other really nice looking shapes in this hand as well.
So Matthias has been Ishanten since the first discard and has yet to draw something to fill in the Mon shape or to pair it. But it is a West and chooses to call it. It feels a little unfortunate that you have to call for a much cheaper Tempai, but it does result in the win immediately.
Very quick win there. Just the tone only. The White Dragon. That's going to put you over 30k. We're moving on to East 3 now. The Dora is the 1 Mon this time. Dealer starting off with a sequence in the Manzu and a pair of the Green Dragons. Now getting a pair in the Sozu as well to go with another pair in Pinzu. Over on the right, we see a West Anko. That's not the seat that that Jason is in right now. But that could be used to push this hand along very quickly. As you see, you got some sequences already locked. But speaking of locking in things, Lin already calling Hatsu and the 2-pin. So definitely putting their foot on the gas right now.
Tempai already for the 6-so, 9-so for 1,500 points. Of course, if you draw the Dora 1 Mon, you can incorporate that into the hand by discarding the 4 Mon, and you'll up the score to 2,900.
Absolutely. And Matthias now picking up another sequence in that hand across the table. You got a couple pairs there as well. This hand's definitely kind of lagging behind the other ones right now, though. You do have a spot to keep that 6 safe, though. And Lin picking up the 6-so there to go into this hand with an Anko of the Souths. Also not the seat win, but that could turn into a Honitsu rather easily.
Yeah, really looks like it's going to be Honitsu, and that means the 6-9 is going to be definitely safe in that hand. That's Ishanten already, actually, for closed Honitsu.
We still have a lot of the 6s and 9s in the wall. A very nice wall ahead of all our players here.
And now an amazingly wide Ishanten for Molly.
Each.
Now Ricci across the table from Matthias, waiting on the 4 Mon, 7 Mon.
She doesn't give you Tempai here, so Molly might just pass it, or might choose to call to break the Ipatsu.
Molly taking a little bit of a safer route here, dropping the Chun, the Red Dragon, and taking on a Manzu in its place. But now we have Jason calling Ricci. Shanpon wait on the 7-pin, 8-pin.
Oh, but 6 is drawn by Matthias and discarded into the dealer hand. So still the 1,500, but ended up being 35 with the 2 Ricci sticks.
Ooh. Quite a lot of points, and you get to keep going. I mean, that's enough points for the lead there. And Molly gets to keep on going here as dealer as we continue with East 3.
Yeah, Molly with the Chun call, and of course Lin with the Haku pair as dealer might choose to match the speed and call it as well.
This is a hand you could definitely go quickly with. You have another sequence already locked in elsewhere in the hand, and there you go, picking up the White Dragon. This is going to be full steam ahead to convert yet again. The door is 4, so we'd like to see that in this hand as well. Could fit in nicely.
Would be a nice upgrade to the 1-2 Penchan. Switch that up for a 4-5 Dianmen.
Jason's got a pretty interesting looking hand here as well, with the sequences already set for Pinzu and Manzu. And meanwhile, Lin is making another call on the Pinzu over on the left. You see that 1, 2, 3. Looks like, let's see, Lin will be trying to close things out quickly here as well.
Oh yeah, Molly on the left with the 3-so wait. That is the Dora indicator, but would be Chun Dora 1 for 2,000 plus the Homba.
Absolutely. So waiting on the 3-so now. Waiting on the Dora indicator. Already kind of looks dangerous just being up there on the wall.
Yeah, there are opportunities to upgrade the weight, but you'd have to redraw the 5 that you already discarded, or the 8. So it would also be a good upgrade. Could even chi that 8-so, and then you discard the 2 for the 3-6 weight. And that's something to be aware of. Sometimes it looks like your shape is all set, you have your weight ready to go, but there's an extra call that you can make to upgrade the shape into a slightly better one. At 8-so is certainly a tile that could do that. Lin also makes a call to upgrade a shape now has a Yanmen and a Kanchan. The nice shaping in the Pinzu, of course. And then the Kanchan is looking for the 6-so, which is a little bit hard given that we can see 3 locked up in the other player's hands.
And definitely a way to just plan ahead.
Here's another
hands.
The calling doesn't quite work there because you can't swap call in this league. Cheating the 4 for the 4, 5, 6 shape and then dropping the 7 is not allowed. And yeah, Matthias had to decide whether to keep the 2 door in hand or take the Tempai, and chose to take Tempai, which is probably the right call given that the other players are quite close themselves. In fact, we see a Ricci from Jason on the right, Ricci, Ipeko waiting on the 3-mon, but they're all gone. So this is a dead Ricci.
Interesting move here.
I wonder if the strategy...
trying to shut down these evolving hands.
Right? Maybe it's intentional, but the 3-so comes out anyway and deals into Molly's Chundor 1.
For 3,300 points and a share of the lead as we move into East 4. And as we get underway here, the Dora is the 9-so. We see one of those in the dealer's opening hand, kind of sitting by itself. Oh, but now it's got a friend. And we see some other good shapes here as well to help speed things along, but otherwise it's going to need some help to really get moving here. In Matthias's hand, you see a good amount of dragons right now. You see we're Mochi on these 2 Hatsus from that and Molly's hand right now. But a good presence of the Pinzu, including 1 completed sequence. We'll see how that develops. Sophia as a Anko of the 1-so, and again, those 2 greens. That's really all about we see here right now. And Lin has a sequence in the Pinzu, a pair of the Sozu, and in the Manzu as well.
You know, whenever I see a Mochi situation, I try to figure out who has the advantage if they were to start calling and going Atozuke for the Hatsu. And usually that advantage goes to the player who has another Yaku outside of just the dragons themselves. And I was thinking Sophia might have the advantage in being able to go for a Chanta, but the hand has evolved in a different direction, and so would likely be attempting to Ricci here. To the right, though, Matthias has the option of angling towards a 3-4-5 Sanshoku as an alternate, and in fact finds Tempai here, not for the Sanshoku, but for Ricci Nomi, waiting on that 4-so, and found a use of the Hatsu as the pair in this hand.
Very nice. So now you don't need to worry about that green coming out. You just built it in as your head.
Exactly. Now Molly also was going to be forced to have the same sort of situation, is now Ishanten, and would potentially be waiting on a Shampon unless the final 8-mon can be drawn into hand. But that Shampon would be waiting on the final 8-mon. So rather difficult wait regardless.
You're seeing an almost Chanta shape on Lin's hand. I mean, you'd need to do something with those 2 6s to really make that work, but...
Yeah, I mean, of course...
that 8, probably thinking about that a little bit.
Of course I think, definitely think about that with the 2 Dora in hand, the 9-so, but... Probably...
And correction, I should say Junchan in this case.
Oh, that is true.
No honors with it.
Yeah, probably a little bit too far at this point. Wants to just find Tempai and clear Ricci. For the similar reasons, Jason... Oh, and there's backfires all over. Would have had a 6, 7, 8 shape completed. But Jason also wants to push his hand, not only being dealer, but having the 2 door as well. And Ishanten just cannot find the proper Manzu tile.
Look at this, 2 4-sos drawn in the last 2 turns there. Both players, well, the 4 fits into the hand on the left, but across, probably reading that that's a little dangerous right now at the end part of this hand.
Tempai for Jason does not clear the Ricci, though. Chooses the Shampon 1-mon 9-so.
Only 6 tiles left. Probably not the best idea to call Ricci right now. Just coast in for a little bit of points at the end here.
There is one of the 1-mon in the wall.
Yeah. Doesn't come out. It's in the dead wall. That'll be 1,500 for both Matthias and for Jason. And Jason will continue on as dealer, and in last place right now, definitely needs this extra point-making opportunity. The door is 9 mon, and we see one of those in hand right now, sitting right next to an 8. You see a couple pairs in this hand as well. It's an okay start, but has a little time to get these shapes really set in stone. Matthias has a pair of the Hatsu and some great-looking shapes in the Pinzu section. Also, a sequence in the Manzu already set. So that's looking quite nice. Molly right now has a few sequences of her own with a pair of the Norths. Not the Seat Wind, but could be a good head, as we saw with the Hatsu earlier. And Lynn has a pair in the Pinzu and also the Sozu. That's really all I'm seeing right now, but we'll keep an eye on that, of course.
Yeah, this is one of those hands as dealer you wish the Dora was not the 9-mon, but rather a Tanyao tile, because your hand really looks like Tanyao. However, he's drawn into 4 pairs, and so might be thinking about pairing up the Dora and going for some type of Chitoi. However, now that you've completed a sequence, maybe move back to a normal type hand, but you've got so many pairs. This might end up just being Tanyao, and in fact, Jason does make the call of the 6-pin, and will shift in that direction. Ishanten now for the Tanyao only.
Is hanging on to the 9-mon, though, so...
Yeah, maybe thinking about Toy Toy, but if you're thinking that direction, then you'd retain the 5, so...
You'd want to start breaking up that sequence.
Yeah, I think it's almost impossible to use that 9-mon in this hand. So I think I would be prepared to discard it. Or I'd rather discard it sooner rather than later.
Right, because it's only going to become more dangerous as this hand keeps going. I mean, I'm not seeing any of these hands that could use the 9-mon right now.
Well, to the right...
Maybe Matthias.
Yeah, he's got 5 pairs.
That's
could end
true.
up on a Dora Tanki for Chitoi. But chooses to make the call instead. And now, interesting decision here. Chooses to break the 4-pin from the 4-4-5-5 shape, which makes a lot of sense. You can call pawn on the 8 or the 5 pin. And you can still call Chi in the 5-8 mon or the 3-6 mon pin.
If that 9 does show up now. Could be a quick upgrade to make.
Absolutely. And Lin, on the left, has upgraded the shapes. Now, Ishanten, the 6-0 currently the pair in that hand, would be Richi Nomi at this point. Oh, and there's... Oh, not Tenpai. Okay, so now it is revealed why Jason has been holding on to this 9, is committing to the Toy Toy Dora Tanki.
It's a very gutsy play right here.
Absolutely. Well, maybe he saw what Molly was doing and wanted a little bit of that. Now, interesting choice here. Do you choose the 3-6 Diamond when you can see 3 of the 6s on the table and 1 of the 3s? Or do you choose the Shampon? But the Shampon... The Shampon has...
go for the... Yeah.
Yeah, the Shampon has one of the 8-pin cut already, so...
Yeah, but that 6 is going to look extra safe now. You know, and you do still have the 3s out there to fall back on in case people don't take that bait.
Oh no, the 5-pin was drawn.
Well, you never know how the wall's going to treat you in this case.
True.
The ultimate adage of this whole freaking game. But,
well, very interestingly, from the left, Tenpai for Lin on the same weight, that 3-6. So in fact, if Molly or Jason were to drop the 3, well, Jason wouldn't drop a 3, but if Molly were to drop a 3, it would end up as a double roan.
But as it looks like this is going to head to the end here.
Lin could have...
Jason...
Excuse me.
It's all good. Oh, here's a chance to maybe... Well, you can't get to Tenpai here. It's not going to happen, sadly. So Jason will give up the dealership here, and Lin and Matthias take 1,500 points.
Yeah, Jason had the opportunity to call into Tenpai there, but chose against it, and... because it would have involved discarding the Dora, which would have been safe against the Richi, but not necessarily the hand that was calling to the right, so...
A gutsy play, sadly not panning out this time. As we head into the half now, it's South 1. The door is 2 Mon, and again, we're seeing 1 in this starting hand. As soon as it comes back up, there is a 2 Mon in that hand at the moment. Kind of sitting on its own with a 9, just kind of cattywampus there on the end. But you do have some pairs and a couple other sequences. We'll see how Matthias approaches this rather difficult hand. I will point out Lin calling the Hatsu pretty early on up across. And that would be a good Yaku for this hand where there's not a whole lot else going on at the moment. But things are changing, especially with that pickup.
Sophia with a sparkling hand on the right, already confirmed Peiko and the Manzu. Chance for Richi Pinfu Peiko Dora 2, should the pair be drawn into hand.
That's very nice looking right now. You even have that sequence. I mean, yeah, it's Ishan 10. And Jason also. Anko of the 2, pair of the 3, couple of the Manzu as well, and Sozu. That's also Ishan 10. I think we're going to see a face-off between these, Jason and Molly right now.
Yeah, my impression of Molly is she's very aggressive, so even if Jason got there first, I'm sure Molly would chase, not only due to playstyle, but also this hand is worth it. It's a Mangan already.
See a very high call rate from Molly and the stats up on the upper right of the screen. And Jason, not nearly as much.
But it's actually Lin who finds Tenpai first, 2 calls into it, and is waiting on the 1-4, so...
Very interesting here. These 4s and 1s not going to come out of these hands, but there's still quite a few. There's 3 1s left in the wall. One of them just drawn and stealed out. And in, I should say, for Hatsu. 3,600 points thanks to a rather generous pot.
Absolutely.
And that's going to give him the lead. We head into South 2 now. 3-so is the Dora, and a great Sozu heavy hand for our dealer right now, and which one of those is there right now. A few other shapes off in the other suits that could benefit, and a 2 pair might work out as well. Lin, on the other hand, looking pretty good herself. There's a couple pairs and some sequences already set. We saw Jason call the Wests and now the North pretty early on. That's a very honor-heavy hand.
Suiso chance. Shou Sushi and Suiso chance. This is completely live for a double Yakuman.
Holy cow. And that's exactly what you need when you're in this position right now. When you're that deep. Well, not super deep in last, but this is definitely going to break the game.
How greedy do you go, though? I guess it depends on what you draw first. If you can draw a dragon... Oh, the other players are speeding this up. They don't want this to happen.
Yeah, they're seeing alarm bells right now.
Oh! There's the east!
Oh my gosh!
Okay, now how greedy? All right, not complete greed.
Well,
Tenpai the left for the 1-pin 5-pin for Toy Toy. All right, we need the 4-so and one of the wins, and there's the South. This is Tenpai for the Yakuman.
Oh my gosh!
Shou Sushi live. Just the 4-so. 4-so does not fit into the hand on the left, the Toy Toy. 4-so does not fit into the hand on the right.
It does fit in the center, and I think if Molly draws another one, it's probably going to stay
Oh no!
put.
There's the
Putting down
pin.
the 1, though, and that'll end this run with a simple Toy Toy from Matthias on the left.
Oh, that is so sad for Jason. I think that would be... The second Shou Sushi of the league would have been...
I think so, yeah.
I believe we had one earlier last season. Oh, I was so rooting for that hand. I looked at it at the start and thought, looks honor heavy, but I don't think this is going to come together. And then the draws kept coming. But Matthias...
came together.
Matthias with the Anko play, the Toy Toy coming through, and perhaps with another Toy Toy. Look at this. Anko already the 3-mon across the table, and the South and the Haku paired up as well as the 3-so. So perhaps we'll be going for Toy Toy again.
Toy Toy, yeah. I mean, I think in Matthias's case, we got to point out that is a perfect response to something like that. A very quick way to just shut down a huge hand like that that's not happening with you.
Absolutely.
Which we may need to see you do again, because take a look at Lin's hand here, already calling the Hatsu and the North right away. This is Ishan's hand.
Tenpai now.
Oh, that could be Tenpai now, yes.
Wild action here.
The 5 and the 2, and also the 6 could work for this hand.
Lin almost doesn't want to see any of those tiles just yet. Wants to perhaps draw a 3-mon or 4-mon and go for Toy Toy as well.
Incredible.
Of course, we can see that the 3-mon will not be drawn. So all three are across the table in Matthias's hand, who, after making those early calls, hasn't made much progress since then. The 2-mon is efficient to retain for the moment. We'll see if it comes out later. I think that's going to be locked in hand now, as we have 3 pairs for Molly.
7 so going out.
It's always a little sad when you had the opportunity to change your weight for the Kanchan, but you're like, no, my 3-sided weight's so much better, and then the 7 so comes out anyway.
What a shame. As Molly hanging on to that Dora 8-pin, as dealer picks up the 2 for a simple Yakuhai Hatsu, but after that big hand, it's good to just chill out for a little bit here, especially when you're in the lead, as Lin is right now in South 3.
We go again.
Yes, Dora 7-mon now. That would fit nicely into this hand in the dealers right in front of us. A few pairs here as well. Otherwise, going to be a little difficult going through this hand, I believe, for Lin to keep this streak going. Meanwhile, Jason has a sequence already locked in for the Pinzu, but also going to need a little bit of help with those odd-numbered Manzu just kind of sitting there. And Matthias across. We have some encouraging-looking shapes, nothing really set just yet. And Molly, well, kind of a similar story here. Has a lot of honors, but they're all different honors. Nothing really pairing up here at all, so he's going to need some help there to get this hand moving.
Yeah, I have no idea what Molly's going to make out of this. It is such an awkward hand. Perhaps a 7-8-9 Sanshoku, and maybe you can make Chanta out of it as well. Okay.
Yeah.
You've already dropped the 4 so, but maybe you can draw into the 1 so or call into the 1 so, make a Chanta.
Mm-hmm. That would be one way to make lemonade out of this basket of lemons you've been given.
Indeed. Well, a call to tune across the way for Matthias, and this is Ishan 10 now for Chundor 1. Just waiting for a couple different Mon tiles.
The 4-pin may also help here, but, well, no, it wouldn't. That would get rid of your pair. You could swap your pair right now, and that's what Matthias is going to do.
That's a very red 5s play. Make sure that you can include the red 5s in your hand if possible. It also prevents the 5s from being used by the other players at the table.
Which, for those of you just joining us from the Mahjong Soul tab on Twitch, we do not play with red 5s in this league.
Yeah, it certainly changes the game quite a bit. You have to find your value in other ways than just collecting the red Doras, but it does make it quite interesting. Open Tanya was a lot less powerful, I think, at least as a value play, but interesting.
Oh, now picks up the 2.
Yeah, if there weren't 2 1-pins discarded already, I might consider dropping one of my Mon shapes to wait on the 1-3, because given that you've already discarded 2 of the 3-pin, the 1-pin looks a little bit safer. But Lin found Tenpai for Chitoy actually with a once-cut Haku as the weight. Ooh. This is a beautiful weight. It is so trappy. I don't think...
That is so sneaky.
I don't think Molly can be saved here.
I was in this situation myself not long ago, waiting on a Dora South where already 2 had been cut. Well, so it definitely could happen here, and it does!
Molly is saved by the fact that Matthias draws it first, and yeah, nothing you could do about that one. 4,800 for the Riichi Chitoy.
That becomes 6,100 thanks to the Honba and an extra Riichi stick in there. Now there's 2 Honba as South 3 continues with Lin really on a hot streak right now with 46,000 points, a significant lead as we head to the end game here. Dora is 7 pin. Not seeing that in this hand right now. But a lot of wins yet again. But there's really only a pair in the south, so it looks a whole lot better than it's actually practical right now, I'd say. Meanwhile, on the right, Jason, great presence of the Pinzu right now. 2 pairs and a good sequence going there with a Dora in hand. Across, we see a pair of the Chun and some good Sozu in there as well. And on the left, Anko of the 1 pin already set, and a sequence in the Sozu.
Yeah, the hand of the left looks quite good, but just not incredibly valuable unless you can draw into some type of 7, 8, 9 Sanshoku. Well, there's an 8 pin, so now the 7 is Dora. You've got Sanshoku Dora 1 would be a nice pickup, and the hand has 2 tiles away for that. Lin played the start very interestingly, but has managed to call the south, which is Yaku here, and hopefully it will manage to draw around some of these awkward floaters. Across the way, a Honitsu is brewing, and yes. Matthias committing to it 100%, discarding the 2-3 shape. Oh, Molly drew the 9, and now might be regretting dropping the 6-so. I think in this situation, you actually toss the other 6-so back out and hope to make Junchan Sanshoku with the 1-1 being your pair and the 1-2-3 shape in your hand.
Mm-hmm. Still hunting for that Dora, though. It's really going to make this just right. That 7 pin, which we only have 1 accounted for right now.
That's true. 1 to the right.
And that's sitting nicely in a sequence there in the Pinzu with that looks like a Pinfu hand coming together, perhaps.
Yeah, there's especially if you draw the 7-so, then it looks extremely Pinfu-esque. Players kind of fumbling to put a hand together, though, which is giving Matthias time to put this Honitsu into play.
And calling that Chun definitely sends it forward quite nicely. Not drawing those Sozu, though, to replace the last remaining Pinzu in your hand.
Lin found Tenpai.
There you go. 2-so is the waiting tile here. Ricci from Jason, though, waiting on the 6 and the 3, and gets the 3.
The 3 that
Ricci, Ipatsu, Dora 1.
A very nice hand for Jason. The 3 that Matthias had been so desperately trying to get rid of, ended up costing in the end.
Hey, you finally get your replacement, and it leads to your downfall. That's such a shame. Things really not working out for Matthias tonight, but, well, this afternoon. Well, tonight, depending on where you're at. But here we go as we head into all last now. Jason with 21,000 points. And 3 Mon is the Dora this time. We see one of those in the dealer's starting hand. That could turn into something pretty nice. Maybe a 1-2-3, well, Sanshoku, but you'd need to find all of that in the Sozu still. Take a look at Lin's hand, though, on the left. Already calling the Hatsu. This could turn into a end game. Well, more likely Lin's going to try to end things quickly with this hand, but you could make a flush out of it if you really wanted to.
That's true, yeah. I suspect just going for speed here given the lead, but there is a world where you draw the Pinzu first. Like this one, 5 Mon makes a lot of sense, and now you can just start calling your way into that Honitsu. So nice call.
There you go. Let's keep going counterclockwise here. Across the table, Sophia has an undeclared Khan right now with an Anko and the 6 Mon. Ooh, that could turn into something pretty big pretty fast, especially with the Dora 3 Mon also sitting in that hand right now.
Pinzu does not fit. Yeah, Pinzu does not fit in that hand, so Sophia will be feeding Lin should she draw any pin tiles.
Yes, that's interesting. Matthias calling the White Dragons pretty on there. Also hanging on to a Dora 3 Mon, rather. As the rest of the hand is Sozu, though. Oh, but now getting this sequence locked in, it's going to make this not be a flush.
Ooh, Khan's.
You've got that Dora now. Calling the Khan doesn't get your tile, and now you're in Ricci across the table with Molly.
Chooses the Shanpon.
4-so, 7 Mon to finish this game.
Ricci, Tanya, Dora 1. A Hyutsumo, you have Sananko. Oh, it's a Dora, but it's safe.
You also have 2 Urador to flip this time. Don't forget
Lin
about
can take
that.
Tenpai here. Chooses not to. Oh, Jason finds...
there's the 2, so...
Yeah, that was safe from the Ricci, but not safe from Matthias's 2 on hand, and that actually has placement implications.
There you go.
Matthias...
Jumping right into third at the last minute.
Absolutely, and Lin with some very nice hands, very good gameplay as well. Finished his first overall, plus 31.3. Molly also had quite a nice run. Almost a shame that last hand didn't come together, but positive 6.8 is the reward for her efforts. For Matthias, claims a third. A shame that Show Sushi didn't come together, but it was certainly a valiant effort and quite exciting to watch. And for Jason, a bit unlucky dealing what should have been a safe tile into the 4th place hand, and ends up with a negative 25.2 here. But we have more games to play, and I believe they have already begun the next match, and so that means for us it will begin in about 1 minute.
There you go. Very, a very crazy starting game for these 4 players, and we will be seeing all 4 games played here today in this very competitive B2 division. You can see there you go. We have the update now in the leaderboards. Molly starting to move a little bit further up, I believe. Yeah, she had a pretty good game there, as you said.
Yeah, plus 6.8 moves her up a little bit farther.
Trying to get out of the demotion there, which is the bottom 4 will drop down into B3. And yes, you read that right. My name is there as well. And with Jason, meanwhile, sitting pretty there in the middle. Lin and Matthias, though, are battling to just stay up in the promotion range. I believe the top 6 there. Let me
top
check my
7.
cheat sheet here. Top 7 will go to B1.
With the placement there, Lin actually surpasses Matthias. So they're 3rd and 4th currently. Pretty comfortably in the promotion zone. Currently, the cutoff line is the Ryan's positive 38.3, so almost 100 points ahead of that line.
Yes.
Jason just outside at negative 14.2, but definitely the ability to climb up there.
Yeah, it's a pretty good cut for promotion, but that's the bottom 5 actually that will get demoted.
Yes.
And it seems to be a lot harder to get out of this promotion range that is to get into the sorry, I'm mixing all my words up. Hard to get out of this demotion range.
Yes.
Than is to get into the promotion range.
Absolutely. I'm in a similar position in my division. Once you end up in that lower portion, it can be really an uphill climb to get out. But
especially with y'all have a 100-point gulf there, right in the middle of your division, which is crazy.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be trying our best, and these players will be trying their best to make up the gap as we enter game number 2. Jason with a pretty good starting hand.
Yes, very nice. Already a couple sequences locked in and a couple pairs there as well. All the tiles are pretty close together, getting all nice and buddied up for Jason's hand here. Over on the right for Lin, our starting south seat, we have a couple of pairs in this hand, rather just one pair. You have a lot of you have all the even Pinzu there. That's going to be tough to work around in any situation. Getting a pair of the 9, so we'll see what happens there. Matthias, our starting west seat this time, has a pair of the souths. Some other decent shapes, a sequence in the Sozu right now. Looking pretty nice. And Sophia, our starting north seat, will have a great... you could get a pure straight here in the Sozu pretty easily with this hand. You got some pairs and the others to go along with it.
The only sad thing about that Itsu is all the 9s have been... 3 of the 4 9s have been discarded, so a little bit difficult to find that last tile. Might end up just going for Tanya as a result. And Jason, you'd love to make the 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku, but you need a pair. And it looks like he's angling for that pair to be the 7-pin currently. which is technically slightly weaker of the shape, but there are paths where this could turn into Sanshoku by choosing this discard. So perhaps some foresight, aiming for the larger hand, even though it's slightly less efficient.
Lin's hand is progressing pretty nicely. We did see a start with just all the odd number Pinzu. Now we have an Anko of the 9 and a sequence in that 5, 6, 7. So things definitely looking a lot more encouraging at this point.
It will be interesting. There is a possibility that Lin ends up with Itsu as well, although that possibility is lessened with this draw of the 3-mon.
Obviously, you already also have a couple of the 2s cut already.
That is a good point as well. Well, it is drawn, and this is Tenpai.
Oh yeah.
And that's why it makes it hard with that 3-mon draw. You're probably getting Tenpai before you get the Itsu, and just choose to take the Richi here. Richi, no me, but you can add a Dora if you win on the 2-mon, or the 5-mon is the other weight.
At this point, Lin is just happy to get anything of value out of this hand. Unfortunately, the 2 is just picked up. That's going to fit nicely. This 2 might come out, though, but good read by Jason keeping that in.
Yeah, there's
another 2 drawn across as well.
That's a pair of Dora, so Matthias has some incentive to push, but the 5 so comes out, and Atanya will end it all for Molly.
There you go. Taking the early lead here as we head into East 2. Dora is once again 2-mon. We saw one in Jason's hand right there a second ago. That could maybe fit into this dealer's hand as well, though.
Tenpai.
That is Tenpai. Richi on turn 2.
Turn 2.
For Lin. And they're waiting on the 3 and the 6-mon now.
This is massive. Ippatsumo.
He gets it!
The only thing that would have been better was the 3-mon for the Sanshoku, but Richi Patsumo Pinfu, and you knew it was coming.
Wow. Mongon on turn 2 for Lin.
With a start that was that good, you just knew it had to be, you'd had to hit the Uda.
And usually those early Richis are just dead value hands, but that was not the case at all with this one. That was just an example of drawing a really nice hand right out the gate.
Absolutely. Well, that will shoot Lin into the lead again, and Lin is charging for first place in this series. A first already, and third on the overall standings. But looks like they'll be climbing again.
Yeah, we'll see. The door is now west. Lin calling the Hatsu right away, definitely keeping the speed going here. Has a sequence locked in and some almost sequences in the other suits. That's definitely going to be the hand to keep watching here. Matthias here has a sequence, almost 2 in the Sozu. Other great shapes here too. Honestly,
Dora 2 is important.
Yes, 2 Dora as well. Not the seat win, but you can definitely get this to Richi very quickly. Cross in Molly's hand. A couple pairs here and there. Some good shape sets, but otherwise has a lot of work to do. And Jason, good sequences there in the Pinzu and the Sozu. 2 sequences in. That's also going to be pretty competitive. Really competitive all around, I'd say.
Yeah, Matthias on the right had a very interesting choice after filling in the 2-3-4 shape in the Mansu. To aim for the Sanshoku, the 2-3-4 Sanshoku, or to aim for the Pinfu and drop the 7-pin pair. Chose to discard the 1-so and think about the 2-3-4 Sanshoku instead, which, I'm not sure what the better play is here.
Well, as far as what we can see, there's only 1-2 left. So that is, but on Matthias's vision, only one of them's been cut right now. But
it is possible we might see the 2 come out from Molly's hand. I think Matthias might be thinking, I can call the West now and go Atozuke waiting for Sanshoku Dora 3 for a Mongon.
But meanwhile, Lin is in Tenpai now, waiting on the 6 and the 3-so. So you have that to worry about. These 3s look pretty well locked in. Same for the 6 in Jason's hand on the left.
Yeah, Matthias also had the opportunity to switch to the 3-4-5 Sanshoku instead of the 2-3-4. Declined that, and just very interesting decision points in this hand, all of which I'm not quite sure what the correct play is, but I don't think the wrong decision has been made at any point. one of those hands that if I was playing in this game, I would definitely go back and look at it again a little bit closely.
We can certainly do that here ourselves as well. Oh, dropping the Dora West. That's going to be called by Matthias now.
So as
3
predicted,
Doras.
yeah,
And
Sancho,
doesn't need to go for Ricci anymore. This can be, well...
it needs the 2-pin, and that's the only Yaku here.
You get the Sanshoku, right.
And
sadly...
Oh no, it's the wrong side.
Oh no, and that's going to not deal in... Oh, that's not a...
That is his own weight, and unfortunately cannot win on that. So
right.
he's permanent Shuri-ten now, and unfortunately that means he will never win this hand because he cannot draw the final 2-pin. They're all in the other hands. Should have switched to the 3-4-5 Sanshoku, I guess.
Well, you're still going to get some points out of this Ryukyoku, unless this 3 drops, which I don't think it will. And we're still very close here, generally speaking. So that's going to be some welcome point bonus here.
Yeah, absolutely.
For Matthias and for Lin.
It's still a bit frustrating. There's 2 brilliant hands that have fallen a little short for Matthias, but has been doing the best with what he's been given.
Speaking of doing good things, what you've been given, 3 pairs to start this dealer's hand in East 2 as we continue on. The door is 4 Mon. That could fit nicely in here. Maybe you make an Ipeiko. You gotta be thinking about that.
1, 2, 3 Sanshoku possible.
Oh, that is also true, yes. Matthias here with a couple of 3 pairs right now. 4.
4, yeah.
That's 4 pairs right now. A lot of dragons coming in, but not going to take all of them here. Sophia has some good sequences right now forming up. Needs a little bit of help. Got a Dora, though, so that's always nice. Jason, meanwhile, already a sequence locked in. Some good shapes in the Pinzu right now, as well as some pairs in the south and the 9 So
Lin did draw into Ishanten for the Sanshoku, and also had the choice to call it to Sanshoku Tenpai, the same as Matthias did. But you can see the difference is Matthias had Mangan chances, and so decided the call was worth it, whereas Lin would just have, well, Sanshoku Nomi, and that's not worth calling for. You'd rather declare Ricci, so passed the 5 so as a result.
Interesting move there, yes.
And we saw a call from Matthias on the right and a second, so this looks like it's going to be a Toy dash. Although we're in row 2, so maybe it's not a dash anymore, but...
Still a movement. It's a movement.
And another pawn.
There's another one.
Not Tenpai.
It doesn't matter when you start this. It's just going to go.
Oh, look at this. Another door drawn.
Ooh. Anko of the 4-pin across.
That's a Mangan already. Just needs to put it together 2 more tiles. Fill in the Yankan 4-6-8 shape. And then grab the 6-so.
Oh. Jason drawing the last Dora here. I think Jason's going to go for Chitoy now.
Yeah, 5
Sadly,
pairs.
that 4 not going to get paired up, as we can see.
Oh, interesting move by Molly. Wants the ability to declare Ricci upon drawing the 1 Mon, but still wants to keep the ability to call for Tanyao as well. With the 4 or 6-so. Now a pawn made.
None of the Wests are out for Matthias. And really, he's still looking for his pair at this point. Pair and or last pawn.
At this point, you're probably holding tiles that you think would make a good weight, although the 9-so might just be a safe tile. And there's Tenpai for Jason. Although...
2-pin 5 Mon.
Yeah, we are not in the south round, so there's no Yaku here. It was going to be a Toy until Tenpai was found, and maybe decides that we're late enough in the round that I should just take this Tenpai to the end. There's a Khan. Oh, and draws into Tenpai, actually.
Ooh, and 3 Doras.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so all of a sudden Matthias with the hand to watch. course, Molly still has 3 of her own, but she's Ishanten. And Lin Tenpai now in the 2-pin.
Picking up an 8. Oh.
Seven so west.
A little while ago.
It's completely live. None of them have come out from the wall.
Oh, wow.
8 tiles left, and there are 4 winning tiles somewhere.
None of them's gotta be in this live wall.
Well, Molly's hit Tenpai as well. Chooses the Tanki on the
There's
6.
the 7.
And it comes
It
out.
deals in. For Toy Toy Dora 3, that's a Mongon, 8,000 points, plus 2 Honba for 8,600.
Well, there's finally coming together. Matthias rewarded for his efforts. And the
There you
Khan
go.
was what made that hand.
Never give up. Gotta keep the faith here. And he gets to continue as, will become dealer now. As we move into East 3, the Dora is 1 pin this time. And we see some good sequences set in this hand right now, along with some pairs, so that's looking pretty nice. Molly as well has a sequence locked. 7, 8, 9 Sanshoku is a possibility here. After you find out what to do with those wins. Jason, well, that's also a nice Anko of the 2-pin. Got a pair in the 1-pin as well as the East.
Dora. Yeah, that 1-pin.
Dora, right.
Might be going for Honitsu here and just absolute greed.
As we pull off another sequence here and call in the East, yeah, this is definitely...
Well, it's Tenpai.
It's Tenpai. Yeah, you don't need Honitsu.
I wonder, though, if he'll start switching it up. Well, could Shampone wait?
And does that. 1-pin 7 so is now the weight.
Sometimes it's awkward to wait on Dora, but in this case, you have 3 of the 2-pin. It's so hard for the other players to use the Dora. And we can see Lin holding 1 in hand, but you're not expecting players to be Tenpai the Dora this early.
Yeah. That could come out pretty easily.
Yeah, that hand looks like it wants to be Tanyao. Or some type of Pinfu where the Dora isn't really usable. Oh no, the 6-0 is drawn, but...
Molly and Matthias probably sensing something's coming quickly here, and it does. There's the 1 so for East and 3 Dora. Another Mongon here in this game.
Lin held it for as long as was efficient to do so, but once it became inefficient to retain in hand, it did come out and did deal in.
East 4 begins now. 3 Mon is the Dora, and that's just picked up by our dealer. That's really all I can say good about this hand right now. You have a lot of open weights, though, so that's another good thing. Jason right now, though, much better position. Great presence in the Sozu right now. Nice overlapping shapes. You could definitely make something with that. Oh, picks up a Dora of his own right now. Decision time here for that. Lin, meanwhile, dropping the Hatsu that's picked up by Molly now, has some sequences almost forming up. Probably drop that Hatsu just because you've got your, at least your buddies here right now, and just want to drop that for efficiency's sake. And Matthias has a sequence in the Pinzu, a pair in the Pinzu as well, and almost one in the other suits as well, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Molly with the Dora and the Hatsu, probably aiming for just the 2900 and dealer continuance, which is perfectly fine here. The scoreline isn't so far away that you feel any pressure to go for anything more than you have to.
Especially when we saw a greed as dealer not pan out very well last game.
Yeah, Lin Ishanten across the way. If you do draw into the Ipeco, you're stuck on a Tonki. So I imagine if the 7 mon is drawn, we will not see a reach, but rather a Dama and switch the Tonki around. Could have even retained the 3 so, using that as the pair, and hoping to draw into Tanyao Ipeco, reach Tanyao Ipeco. But chooses this pseudo-headless shape. And it's very wide. There's a large number of Mon tiles that will get you Tenpai, anything from 5 through 9, in fact, as well as the 5-8 so, or the 6-7 so, if you use that as a pair.
I was about to say, she's hanging on to that white dragon for a while, but now she's going to drop it.
A little awkward to have drawn this 5-6-6 shape, having a 4 and a 7 pin in your discards, but you could call that back into Tempai, or you can pull in the south. There is one left, I believe.
Jason, meanwhile, well, I'd say Chinitsu, but there's really not a lot of time for that right now. Definitely this, well, that's... Well, that could turn into something else, though. Tenpai now, waiting on the 6 and the 9, though, has most of those in hand already.
And Molly calls into Tempai on the 2-5 Mon. Yeah, it's so awkward. Two tile, double-sided weight, but 5 of those are in hand. One discarded. In fact, they're all none of them are in the wall, and all being used. So that hand unlikely to win. 4 is near the door, so it's an uncomfortable discard. But what else are you going to do except fold? And as a result, Molly pushes it.
Yeah, Molly was probably thinking about pushing it or not. Could have also switched to a Shan pawn of the 4-mon south.
Matthias had the opportunity to take Tempai. He still has the opportunity now that the 5 is discarded and
got it.
Finds a path. Well done. I was going to comment, just looking at Matthias's scoreline, 4 wins, 8 second places, 4 thirds, 1 fourth. So tends not to lose, but perhaps as a result of playing a little bit more cautiously, has fewer wins than the other players around this table. But different playstyles will have different results. We saw a perfect example of that there. Matthias could have chosen to aggressively push the 5-so for Tempai, but thought that was a little bit too dangerous. And instead, when the 5-so came out, found another route to getting Tempai just before the end. So found a way to get points without being aggressive.
Could probably tell that Sophia was just getting into Tenpai herself.
Absolutely. So. Sophia was pushing all kinds of dangerous tiles.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of danger, take a look at this hand here, starting off with Molly. With the Chun already called, has a lot of Manzu in this hand right now, including a Dora 9-so. So this could be a good value depending on which way you take it. Jason, meanwhile, has a couple of pairs in hand, just called the Hatsu earlier as well. Actually, 4 pairs in hand. This could be a toy chance.
That was very interesting. Perhaps. Jason had the 5-6 in hand. The 4-so was discarded. He could have cheated that, but chose not to, and instead was rewarded with a 5-so draw. So he is definitely angling for the toy.
And Sophia definitely angling for Honitsu here, dropping that 8 pin.
At the very least, if it's not Honitsu, it's going to be Dora pair, because the open Honitsu has the same value as the Dora pair.
We haven't even talked about Lin's hand yet, with 3 Doras already in it.
How about that? Ishanten as well, with Yamen.
Junchan Dora 3.
Yeah, if you can
case scenario here.
If you could draw the 1 pin, then Sanshoku Junchan Dora 3 would be insane. But we see tiles lighting up. That's Tempai on the right for Jason, who did find the call for the toy 5-pin 5-so. Not the best weight.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're mochi with those 5-pin with the player across from you, Matthias. And he's hanging on to one of your 5s as well, so only 1 tile left in the wall for this hand to complete with.
Molly choosing to discard the 9-so, so will not be Dora Tanki, will be the Honitsu, as you mentioned. Decision here.
Meanwhile,
which one do you choose to keep as a pair? The 3-3-4 shape or the 2-3-3 shape? Decide that the pin shape is more likely to make a Dianmen.
Yeah. Maybe possibly thinking, could I go toy as well?
That was your chance to go for the Junchan, but perhaps saw all the 1-so getting discarded and instead chooses the wider weight, which is probably the smarter decision here.
Absolutely. Got 1 pin left, and, well, as far as she knows, no 5 pins discarded, but those are already locked in. Here's the 2, though.
Molly dodges, well played. The 2 doesn't actually look that bad, because the 3-1 was discarded from hand. It makes it look very safe.
But you don't see any of the 5s out there, so that's going to make it look really suspicious.
Yeah, the problem is there's not enough 3s visible. Oh, but yeah, Tempai found. The 2 will come out. Mangan found for Lin, unless we can flip some Ura. No, so the 8,000 points. And yeah, I don't think there was anything Molly could do there. I think you always drop that 2 pin.
That's just the way it goes. Molly will move down to last in this as for right now, but we're just moving into the half. It is the south round now. South is the Dora indicator, which means west is our Dora. Jason starting us off as dealer. A couple of sequences already set, 4, 5, 6, and a 4, 5 in the Pinzu.
Beautiful.
I think it's Sanshoku time for Jason. Lin, meanwhile, good sequences here as well in Sozu Manzu. There's a Sanshoku chance, but it's farther off considerably. We'll see what happens there. Matthias has a some good shapes and a sequence locked in as well. And Sophia, lots of honors, lots of different honors. Oh, could we be
Kokushi.
seeing a Kokushi chance
It was
here?
definitely
Yes.
Kokushi.
Yeah, with those discards, absolutely.
Had 8 tiles in a pair and just committed to it from the start. I was a little bit surprised to see the call from Jason, but he's found Tenpai out of this, so it looked like a hand that could really be quite strong closed, but we'll find Tanyao should he choose to accept it. No, he wants more.
Ooh.
So ideally he would win on the 4-so for Tanyao Sanshoku. But the 1 and the 7 both just give either Tanyao or Sanshoku. Passes the first win expecting to see another tile come out. And for example, if Molly were to draw a 4, it would absolutely come out.
Mm-hmm. More progress for the Kokushi on the left. That just needs a 1 pin. We see one of them knocked out.
Oh goodness, passes another win.
Oh, wow.
If the Kokushi comes together after passing 2 wins, there will definitely be some regret.
And you're a dealer too, so I mean, you had 2 chances to just hit the continue button here.
Tenpai.
That is Tenpai now, cross.
You don't pass any more wins now.
No, absolutely. And there's your last one as Molly abandons the Kokushi and immediately deals in here.
Yeah, it was safe to the Riichi, and so very fortunate was Jason to be able to win before any damage was done. So ended up netting an extra 1,000 points as a result of the wait.
There you go. Sometimes good things do come to those who wait in this game. We got another Sanshoku chance here, potentially, though, for our dealer. 4, 5, 6. Already... Is this the same hand again? This looks very similar.
It does
I'm
look
having
quite
some
similar.
serious deja vu.
Dora
is 2-so now, though.
Yeah, not quite as good pin shape, but still quite similar.
Yeah.
Wait, that's Ishan 10 for Toyman already. Matthias calls Chi and is Ishan 10 for Hakuchanta Sanshoku.
Wow.
That's
definitely different this time.
Yeah, would need the 1 mon, but definitely possible there.
Sophia, meanwhile, a much more conventional hand this time with the Ipeko chance here for the Sozu. The 3, 4, 5.
On the right. Yeah, just a very standard hand as well. Tanyao, perhaps. Riichi, 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku. There's a world where that happens. Not absolutely thrilling of a start, but, you know, it was better than average, so I'll take it.
Yeah. We don't want to have Kokushi every time. That just lessens the thrill of it, you know?
Oh, well, so Jason might be drawing into a different Sanshoku with a 5, 6, 7.
Interesting there.
We'll see if he gets Tenpai if he starts passing rounds. Although in this case, I think everything's pretty much locked up. Having Kanchan really limits the ways that you'll be able to pass rounds. Now this is Tenpai. Will he just throw the stick out? Yeah. It's not the best weight. Sanzo, once caught, none in the wall. We can see they're all in hand. Riichi Tanyao Dora 1. Yeah. Riichi Tanyao Dora 1 is not a bad pickup here. 7,700 on a roan.
Especially with it being proximity to the Dora as well.
Yeah, that makes it even worse. There is a world
Speaking
now.
of, there is the Dora just picked up by Sophia or Molly.
For Matthias across the table, this is like Defense Simulator. Just pick the safest tile every turn. You do have the 1-mon pair for safety, as well as the 9-mon now. Molly choosing to bail out of the 9-mon Anko indicates that she doesn't really want to push against this either. Probably a good choice given the limited options in the Pinzu, but we see a reach to the right. Riichi, Pinfu, potential Sanshoku, so that did come together for Lin, waiting on... Yeah, 6-9, so... Oh, the 9 comes out!
Oh,
It was safe to the early
right
reaches,
away.
but not the second one, and...
Riichi, Ipatsu, Pinfu, Dora 1. No Uradora, but you don't need it. 10,000 points when you include the Riichi sticks. And a Honma.
Molly was starting to run thin on save tiles, and tried to push that...
That'll give Lin a considerable lead here in South 2. The Dora is 1 pin. Immediately drops it, though, because look at this hand. Probably going to go for a flush, I'd say. You got that 2-4 Pinzu weight that, well, could have used the 3 in either form you kept that in. But, yeah, that's a pretty gutsy play there to just drop the Dora right away, just deny the people beneath you any points.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was going to go there too. Matthias Ishan 10 already was Ishan 10 for a couple turns.
Absolutely. That 2-mon would be a good pickup here.
Yeah, get the reach Pinfu 3-sided weight. Saman-chan always feels nice. Ooh, could switch out now. Angled towards an Ipeko Pinfu weight. Yeah, makes the play.
Good move there.
Door picked up across the way by Molly. This is the south round, so she could call for the south, but the value is just not really there. So probably going to stay closed if at all possible, and then open up later if it becomes a necessity. And then to the left, Jason with a fairly standard hand. Not a lot of value here and awkward shapes.
Can accept the Dora, though, and I think that's where you'll see value come if it ever does. We've got Riichi for Matthias. Shanpon on the 2-3 so.
Yeah, not the way I expected that hand to get to Tempai, and I might have thought about holding off on the reach here. Just Riichi Nomi, kind of bad weight, is not super strong here. We also see...
You got Tenpai from the dealer as well.
Yeah, 2-5-mon.
2-5.
Just the 1,500 points here, but there's a Riichi stick as well to pick up. And so far hasn't had to drop amazingly dangerous tiles. Maybe the 8 so. Wasn't super safe, but... Yeah, looks like...
Look much at Molly's hand yet, but that's looking pretty close as well.
You're right, Ishan-ten.
There.
Let me read that pin shape correctly. Ishan-ten, and decides to bail out of it now.
It's looking a little dangerous now. Picks up another Dora, hangs on to it. You don't want to deal yourself any further down.
You can see the dealer is pushing, so you know that we'll have another round.
And get Sumo. So you won't get another round, but you do get 2,500 points with a Haku.
Yeah, Link will continue well, we'll get the first continuation here.
Yes. 1 Honba in the pot now with 51,600 points. A staggering lead from Lin right now. The Dora is 3 so, and there's one in this hand already.
This is Tenpai on the right for Reach Tanya Sanshoku.
Another turn 2 Riichi. Was it Matthias that did it last time? I think he did.
I think it was Lin.
No, you're right. It was. It was Lin.
Surely we don't see another Ipatsumo.
We'll see. Needs the 6 so only.
Yeah, 2 in the wall.
No
so
Ipatsu this time, but
a little unlikely. I wonder. Let's see, Tanya Sanshoku Dama is only 5,200. You're never changing your weight, so.
We could see Lin drop that 6 so though, unless something forms around it. And I mean, when you don't have a lot of information to go off of with an early reach like this, that could drop more often than not.
Yeah, I think Lin will be just playing to give up this dealership at this point. There's no need to risk anything. You can only see one of the Dora in your own hand. Instead,
but the 6 will come out of Jason's hand.
Jason pushing
for Riichi Sanshoku Tanyao with Wanura for a manga.
Yeah, Jason pushing for Toy Toy. 6 did not fit into it, and again, not very much information, so decided to play aggressively. Fortunately, it was a costly bit of aggression.
Sad to see. But just before we left Lin's hand there, take a look at those honors. Are we going to see another Kokushi? You really don't need to at this point.
I mean, the hand might be so bad that you really have nothing better to do.
You can do, yeah. And then lay up for a Junchan or something after, perhaps.
Right. Yeah, Chanta maybe.
Or Chanta. You're right. But our dealer's hand, Matthias, we have a sequence already set for the Sozu and the Manzu as well. Good stuff already set in stone there. Very nice. The door is north, and he's got one of those as well. Molly, meanwhile, is a pair. That's really it with this hand, sadly. Well, that 3 is going to turn that pair into an Anko, so we'll see if that pans out a little bit more. And Jason, a couple pairs in this hand, some sequences already coming together. Stuff pretty close. We'll see what happens. Lin does seem to be dropping out of this Kokushi and going for just a more conventional half flush.
It was interesting. Lin had 10 tiles towards the Kokushi and decided Honitsu was better.
Which you might think is easier, but you have 6 different honors you got to deal with now. Perhaps only one of them managed to rise to become a pawn.
Yeah, perhaps valuing the fact that the north was the Dora. But unfortunately, 2 of those have been discarded already, so that the most it could be in this hand is a pair.
That is true. Another east.
Khan for flow.
Khan here.
Khan to spice things up. It will certainly make the rest of the table have to think a little bit.
I wouldn't want to give my other players any chance at more points myself.
Exactly. I think in no scenario would you ever Khan here. You're just way too far away from Tenpai to make it be beneficial to you. You're only really helping the other players. And wow, how has Molly found Tenpai first? That hand looked extremely far from Tenpai.
But here we are, waiting on the 5 pin that Lin picks up now. Good read there, I'd say.
And this is another situation where Lin just doesn't want to have anything to do with these hands. He'll try to bail out if at all possible.
And you've got safe tiles here. I mean, the Hatsu's already cut. North's already cut. West looking pretty safe, especially after you picked up the second one too. You've got those east there. You know, you don't need to call a con when that's a definite safe time.
Speaking of cons.
Ooh, there we go. New Dora 6 pin, and that's going to definitely raise the value in Molly's hand a little bit, and give Matthias 2 Dora as well. Also 1 in Jason's hand.
Yeah, Matthias a little far away, but Jason has been pushing against his direct competition in Molly. One of these 2 is likely to win the hand if a hand is won. Second 5 pin drawn, though, and a 5 pin revealed as the Dora indicator means Molly's weight just got a lot worse. Oh, Jason pushes the 6 pin for Tenpai. That is aggressive.
Very. Needs the 6 so to win and gets it. But
yes, you take it.
Yes. Okay.
We don't toy greed here.
Yeah, not in this case. This will send us to all last, though. Jason remaining in a very competitive 3rd right now.
Yeah, that is so gutsy by Jason, making aggressive plays that I'm not sure I would have been able to. So well played.
Very much. It's now Molly's mountain to climb, though, at 7,600 points. Has quite a ways to go, but this hand could definitely get you started. That's Tenpai and Riichi already called on turn 2 once again.
I wonder, this is again one of those interesting situations where you could wait and not declare the Riichi because it's very poor. 5 Mon Kanchan is just so awkward.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what the play would be if you decline the reach. You maybe go headless with something like the 9 so. Um,
Yeah, I think that's why she called it. I mean, an early reach is an early reach.
you,
That 3 would have been nice, though.
yeah, you could Dama and hope. Oh!
But there it is! That's going to pay off. Ricci, Dora 1,
Oh, and an
and
Ura.
another Dora.
That's huge. That is massive. You hit your direct competition, Jason, who was aiming for a Chanta Sanchoku, I believe. And
Yeah.
the 5,
That's
of
going
course,
to give her third place.
yeah, it doesn't fit there.
And now she'll continue as dealer. That's the first step of many she needs right now. This hand, sadly, not looking nearly as hospitable, but few hands are. You have a good possible Sanshoku chance here with the 6, 7, and 5, maybe? We'll see what happens. Jason, meanwhile, has some good sequences already locked in. This hand's looking much more competitive. Lin, meanwhile, an Anko of the 8 Bon, and a sequence locked in there as well. The door, we should say, is 8 So, which Lin's got as well. And Matthias, discarding lots of wins, because this hand also doesn't really need them. You have a lot of good shapes and Anko and some sequences already set. Sadly, it's going to give a lot of work for Molly to make in a short amount of time here.
All the hands looking promising here. Molly perhaps
This one's
angling.
starting to get together,
Yeah,
I'd say.
maybe thinking about that 7, 8, 9 Sanshoku. Oh, it really does look like she's thinking about it, but Jason will get there
Boom.
first. And this is
Goodbye,
tense.
Jason.
Jason, before that Ricci stick was thrown out, was 4,300 points away. It was a home bus. That's a gap of 4,000. Oh, Lin is going to fight. Drops the
Senpai
Dora
for
to do so.
Lin. Incredible. Throwing out the Dora. It's a very gutsy play, especially against another Ricci.
It's not an. It doesn't look like an amazing weight, being the 1-3, waiting for the 2. However, it's
Picks up the 2!
immediately drawn Lynch's nose. It actually looked quite good because there were a couple 3-mon and a 1-mon discarded already, so the 2 was looking pretty live in the wall, and so good read by Lin. It's just a dominating performance. Probably
Ricci Patsusumo to end this out.
Probably saves Sophia here, Molly, by winning that hand, and so we'll have Lin big first place, plus 41.6, and Matthias not a bad second place either, plus 16.3 is quite good. Just Lin was so dominant in this Hanchan that 41,000 just wasn't good enough. And Molly third place with negative 21.8, and Jason negative 36.1 in fourth. Will lead us to our next score update, and just like that, Lin has taken first place in the division overall. Matthias in third, and these two players have been on the climb.
Yeah, and I think we're only going to see even more climbs here in these last 2 games of the evening here. Yeah, full stats on your screen now. Molly moving a little bit further down in the demotion range. Should be noted on my score. It hasn't been added in yet, but it's actually at 30 more points there than there should be, since 2 of my games were no shows last session. So I should be showing 30 extra points, so I'm a little bit closer to Molly than it looks right now.
Yeah, I know there
Molly can certainly move things around as well.
A few games that had not got recorded yet and will need to be manually placed in. Those will be done eventually in the near future.
Oh yes, that's right. From the 10-0 difficulties a couple nights ago. Yeah.
Yeah, the story of these two Hanchan have been Lin and Matthias. Well, mostly Lin. I mean, I think he started in 5th place and has jumped all the way to first with 2 huge wins. And I really enjoyed seeing the play. I think Lin has been playing an incredibly smart game of Mahjong, and it's been quite fun to watch. And we will see more. I believe the third game is set to start any second now.
Yes, so they've already gotten underway, so we will be catching up with them in just a few seconds.
And it looks like first dealer will be Molly. to the right, Matthias. The west seat, Jason. And Lynn will be north.
So in a weird way, Molly gets dealer continuance. It's just in a different game.
That is one way to think about it. And this dealer hype pie is not absolutely thrilling. Now that you've started to collect some pairs in the Sozu, you might start to lean towards the Honitsu. But for the time being, we'll play this normally.
Well, it's not absolutely not thrilling, as I believe what you were saying before your mic cut out there. 3 pairs already set, and picking up that 8 is setting up any Peiko, perhaps. So definitely a competitive hand here, even with Matthias here, who's got a few sequences already locked in as well, with a pair or 2 here and there. 5 pin is the Dora, and we see that in Jason's hand right now, where he's got a pair and some sequences starting to come together. And Lynn, meanwhile, has a sequence locked in and some other good shapes coming together as well.
I quite like the hand to the right with the 2 Dora. Tanyao, Sancho Kuchian says it's really a pretty hand. Molly's is coming together, though, not far behind.
Mm-hmm.
And
Molly could be going for Chitoi here, perhaps.
There is a world where that happens. We're up to 4 pairs. Oh, more Sozu drawn. And this...
I forget Chitoi.
Yeah, I like the pass there.
Eat. But Matthias hitting Tenpai first and calling Ricci. That'll be 6 or the 3, so.
Ricci, Pinfu, Tanyao, Dora, 2. Tsumu would be Haneman. Ura would be Haneman.
No.
Let's find out.
The 3. Ricci, Pinfu, Tanyao, Dora 2. No Ura, but a Mongon will do just nicely here in the opening stages of this game for sure. 38,000 points to start with, and take a look at this opening hand now. You see 6 different honors to start with.
Yeah, Matthias spending
a while. Yeah, thinking how to start with this one. Gonna drop west. I think that's a good move here. Just focus on the wins you've got and see how the dragons pan out later. Good pickup there in the Manzu as well. Jason, meanwhile, good presence of the Manzu in that hand as well. You have a pair here and there. And across in Lynn's hand, you see a sequence already set and a few pairs as well. And in Molly's hand, you see a completed set in the Manzu and some almost completed sets in the other, but calls that Hatsu pretty early on to keep things speeding ahead.
Yeah, Ishanten there, but Matthias, after hesitating a long time at the start, chose to play it normally and was rewarded with 3 consecutive useful draws. Now Ishanten already.
Yeah, there's no honors left in this hand. That's incredible.
Just discarded the hand and replaced it with a better one. Declares the Ricci for Reach Tanyao Pinku Dora 1, waiting on the 4-7 pin.
Very nice, but now it's also Tenpai for Jason with that call off the tile he reached with. Now waiting on the 4 or the 7.
And the only winning tile here would be the 4 for the Itsu, no other Yaku. But Itsu Dora 2 is not a bad pickup either, so I imagine Jason will be pushing this to hand completion.
Molly also hitting Tenpai, waiting on the 3 pin.
And we're going to see a very aggressive first round here, but the 4 pin drawn and discarded by Jason will deal into the monster hand that Matthias put together.
Yes, and we should say put together. This was not really handed to him whatsoever. Picks up an Ura along with that for a Mongon for 13,000 points. Already 50,000, and we're only in East 2 as he continues on as dealer. Dora this time is West. And this hand's going to be, well, it is more, I'd say, accommodating than the last one.
At least there's a clear path, right? You have the 7-8-9 Sancho.
You don't have to just throw everything out and start over with this one. Definitely easier going here. Jason looking for some easier times as well, already sitting at 10,000 after taking quite a beating early on in this game. Has some good sequences already set up, though. Could pretty easily convert with this hand as well, I'd imagine. Lynn's got an Anko of the East right now. and some great Sozu presence as well could turn this into Honitsu very easily. And Molly, while has an Anko of the 7 and some great shapes forming up in the other suits, this is also a competitive hand.
Quite good. I'm not sure if it's going to be fast enough. Jason Ishanten already with Ryamen Sanmen-chan Ishanten. I think you throw this 4 back.
Well, he's going to hang on to it.
Yeah, the reason I like putting it back is there's a chance to draw into some type of Sanshoku. By just holding on to one of those, you can discard one of your other shapes. Might just be leaning towards building a Tanyao eventually. Yeah, here's that situation. So you can now drop one of your other shapes.
This case breaking up the pair.
I think technically it's a little bit more efficient to take the perfect Ishanten, but this is also acceptable as well as a play. And Jason definitely in the lead as far as hand progression. Close behind perhaps is Lin across the way with the Anko of the East when can call and speed up the hand rapidly.
Sadly, Molly's hand's been kind of stalling out here. Trying to turn into Toy Toy, perhaps. Some pairs coming together. Tiles are all kind of sitting near each other. That 6 could help with things. You have a Sanshoku chance if you break up your Anko. You might not even need to in some situations as well. Seems to be angling for those Ankos, though.
Yeah, we can see West finally discarded, and so that's the first door that we've seen, I believe. Oh, this is Ishanten for Lin. How do you want to play this? Chooses to drop the Hudi 10 5-6 shape. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, this is also a hand that kind of had some flush aspirations and then just kind of stalled out. So,
Tenpai.
Toy is an option, but you have that sequence you don't want to get rid of.
Now, we've seen Jason greed for Sanshoku before. Will he not declare the Richi here?
Each.
No, he will.
He will.
Richi Pinfu, 2-5 Mon is the weight.
Very nice. But now it's Tenpai for Lin as well. 6 Mon and 8 So.
Oh, all those
and
tiles.
There's a 6 Mon.
Sumo.
But it's picked up. The 2 Mon picked up by...
Jason.
That was Jason, right? Yes, it was Jason. For Richi Sumo...
Pinfu.
Dora? With a Pinfu, yes.
Yeah, no Ipatsu because there was a call in between that broke it.
Still a very quick one as well, but that's going to give him some confidence here as we move into East 3. He's now sitting at 13,000, looking to start rising from the dead here. It is East 3, as I mentioned. 1 So is the Dora, and look at this hand. Anko in the 8 Mon sequence already set in Sozu. Things looking much brighter for Jason here.
Ishanten.
But Sophia along the way... Yes, he's Ishanten, but Sophia calling the East to try to catch up. There's not a whole lot else happening in this hand at the moment, so that's probably why you make that call. I'm going to look at Matthias's hand really quick here. 4 Anko. Sorry, Anko in the 4. It was 4 Anko, we'd be done already. But picks up a sequence right now in the Sozu as well. That's definitely looking pretty nice. And Lin on the right has a pair and some sequences kind of starting to form up as well.
Yes, that's the battle of the Ishanten between Jason and Matthias. Who's going to get there first? Jason trying to improve the shapes a little bit, but has swapped out the 1-3 Kanchan for a 1-2 Penchan. However, that Penchan is actually a little bit better given what we can see, and now can upgrade even further, discarding the 1-2 Penchan to maybe build some sort of Ipeko in the middle Pinzu. Oh, instead decides to drop the 9 pin.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to incorporate the 4-7 pin in this hand now that you no longer have a locked-in pair. But this does move the hand a little bit closer to Tanyao, and in fact, now Jason can call anything for a Tanyao Tenpai. Would involve discarding the Dora 1 So. So There's some trade-offs to be had with that.
カン
Oh,
That's,
Khan.
Ooh.
It's Khan into Tempai.
New Dora 7 Mon. That'll help things out in Matthias's hand. Well, not quite, because that 7 Mon doesn't really work. But it
But-
will help in Lynn's.
Yes, Lin can use that. 369 is the weight across the way for Molly,
1
but
Gonna reach with the 7 on Jason's end. He's waiting on the 5 and the 6.
yeah,
Pin.
only the 3 and the 6 will win for Molly here. Oh, and there's a 6 that will come
Oh.
out and deal in to the east only. The Khan adds a little bit extra foo, so 1,300 rather.
A nice little gain for Molly. Sadly, ending a much-needed dealer run for Jason rather prematurely. As we move on into East 4. The door is north. And in this opening hand for our dealer, we have some shapes forming up. It's got some work to really make them really start meshing together. So we'll see what happens there. Oh, but that call of the Hatsu is going to help. Molly, meanwhile, a pair of the Easts. Some good sequences starting to form up there as well. You've got some other pairs in the Manzu you might be able to leverage as well. Matthias, I'm seeing a sequence in the Pinzu. Picking up an Anko in the 9 So. And Jason with a sequence in Pinzu with some pairs and some other good shapes here. So that could turn into something as well.
That 5 So for Matthias. Put some Ish on 10, but Ricci Dora 2 would be the plan. Potentially 3, depending on what gets drawn. Oh, and that is an upgrade shape for sure. Chooses to discard the Kanshan, so still potential to end up on the Shanpon, which makes a lot of sense because you want to be able to incorporate a third Dora and make this a Mangan. However, Lin, calling as quickly as possible, does not see the Dora in their own hand, so perhaps trying to end... Oh!
1
Well, this
Ooh,
hand...
there it is.
Yeah, found the excellent weight as well. 4/7 Mon for Ricci Dora 3.
Incredible.
And Lin couldn't get there fast enough.
Sumo.
Ipot's Sumo! Oh my
Ooh.
goodness, this is a Hanemon.
I was about to say, what if he got Ipatsu on this as well? And he does. Hanemon now, 13,000 points, putting him into over 60k right now. 60,600 to be exact.
Well,
As we move into the half.
This game has been all Matthias. The first 2 were Lin's games, but Matthias has been slowly climbing. 3rd place, 2nd place, and now with a huge lead in South
I
1.
think he's going to skip 2nd at this point and just go straight into 1st.
Well, he did get 2nd in the last game, and that
I meant on the leaderboard.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you might be right here. Yeah,
But here we go. With Molly as dealer, and already a lot of things happening on this board. Calling the Souths. And that leaves Molly with a lot of pairs and an Anko even. That could turn into something pretty nicely here in a minute. Matthias with a pretty good sequence forming up in the Manzu. Well, not quite. Yeah, never mind. It looks like that 2 So Anko might be where this heads. And has some pairs as well. Jason, Anko in the 1 pin. The Dora is 6 pin. That could fit in this hand nicely. Has a couple pairs in elsewhere in this hand as well. And Lin with some good shapes. And of course, that South call from earlier.
Yeah, Lin just trying to put together a hand that incorporates the Dora. Now has found a pair of Dora. So this hand's actually getting a little bit expensive. And Molly starts to open up, wants to continue as dealer, doesn't have a lot of value anyway, so you might as well, if you're not going to build for value, build for speed.
There you go. Need the 7 Mon for a nice open weight Tenpai. Well, this could make things interesting. Yeah, gonna drop that 8 for an Anko.
Yeah, interesting. You choose to drop the Kanshan shape. The Shanpon 8/8 pin 7/7 So isn't amazing because you have one of the 7 So already, and one of the 8 pins has been discarded. In that situation, I might have preferred the 6-8 shape, although Molly just knows better than me. And
But check this out. Now Molly's picking up the 7-so and gets Tenpai on 2 and 5 and picks up the 2 immediately.
and so rewarded for the Shampoo weight. And that does make sense in the context of callability. You can call from Poland from anybody at the table as well, rather than the chi, which can only happen from your left. So it was definitely rewarded there for that decision.
Always nice when we can talk about the merits or non-merits of a move, and then it just works out anyway. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and Sophia will stay as dealer now in South 1, getting back to 30k. A good presence of the Manzu in this starting hand, finishing off a sequence there with a couple of pairs on its side. Some other smattering of other tiles here. Might be a good path into Chinitsu, perhaps. We'll see how that develops. We're seeing an Anko of the North wins over in Matthias's hand. Also has a Dora 8-pin with a couple of pairs here and there as well. So, good potential in this hand. Jason has a few pairs of his own. A couple here and there. Also a sequence. The Dora 8-pin would fit nicely here. But we see where those 8-pin are at, and that's in Lynn's hand. 2 of them, in fact. And those fit nicely in a sequence in the Pinzu shape, and also other shapes and other ones starting to form up.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if Lynn could make any Peiko out of this upper pin shape. Unfortunately, 7-pin is all gone. And I was really excited to see Matthias draw into some Ankos here, but with the 5 Mon coming out so early, it's a little bit difficult to find that later on. So chooses to call Pone here. We'll aim for the Toy Toy. Might end up on Doratanki as well. We're in the south round, so the east pair isn't as useful for Jason as he'd like it to be. But 789 Sanshoku might be the play.
Meanwhile, Molly, I think, maybe rethinking the flush a little bit here. If that was ever her thought to begin with.
Yeah, I think perhaps had thoughts of building towards even a Chunchan, perhaps. It's a kind of awkward hand, and so...
And you got to think of something quick, because Matthias has called his second pawn. Still trying to find a way to incorporate this 8-pin fully, but it's now Tenpai for 7-pin.
Of course, we can see those tiles lighting up, but we know that it won't actually win, as there is no Yaku here.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But we, of course, I think if it was later in the round, you'd try to keep your Tenpai. In this case, I think you try to find the most likely tile to pair up. Oh, we see a Ricci.
Thinking he's going to try for Toy Toy now. But yes, Ricci on Lynn's end. They're waiting on the 3 and the 6.
For Ricci, Pinfu Dora 2, a very solid hand. Mongon.
Mongon and minimum. Waiting on something that was already called a pawn from across from you.
Yeah, you can see there are only 3 tiles left. And not even all of those in the wall. There's one across in Jason's hand, so only 2 in the wall for that hand. But you know there's 2 players who don't want the 6-mon.
Molly making some progress now on that potential Ricci, I think, at this, potential Tenpai.
Yeah.
Right now.
We are getting late.
Yes, time is almost up.
She can call Poland into Tenpai, but we'll not get another draw here.
Seven comes out there, and the 4 there, and if we Lin the lone Tenpai at the table, gaining 3,000 points. Time now for South 2, as we continue along here, with the leader Matthias starting things off as dealer now. South is the Dora, and some pairs in this hand to begin with. A sequence just polished off on the Manzu side. Good things happening right now, but even look at this hand on Jason's end. Anko of the Green Dragons right now. and some good shapes in the other ones. You really just need to pick which one you want to sail off into flush land with at this point. You have a completed sequence in the Sozu, so that might be favors, but that pickup of the 6 kind of changes things a little bit. Lin, meanwhile, has some shapes that are all kind of close together. You see the tiles kind of buddying up in this hand, so could be something good there. And Molly, a pair of the white dragons, seems to be going for a Honitsu herself in this case.
Yeah, that looks to be the play. Matthias has just been drawing excellently so far. Ishanten already for Reach Pinfu had the opportunity to retain that 2-mon in hand and maybe think about Ipeko, add a little bit of value that way, but chances are you're just trading Pinfu for Ipeko and probably getting a worse weight out of it. So decides to just stick with the Reach Pinfu plan, throw that 2-mon back.
Mm-hmm.
There is, of course, the one south, Dora in Jason's hand. We have yet to see the other ones. It'll be interesting to see who draws it first. If Molly draws it, she can make use of it. But the other two players, and of course Jason, but the other two players cannot.
True.
Jason, technically Ishanten here would probably wait Dora Tanki and might even call the 5-pin if it comes out at this point, this late in the game, from Matthias's hand. Wait Dora Tanki for 5,200 points with all the extra foo from the closed Ankos.
Lin picking up this 1. That'll make an Anko of the 1s and 2, 3, 4 for Tenpai. Waiting on the 5 and the 8 now to finish things off.
Richinomi, but it's a dealer reach. Puts pressure on the rest of the table.
Especially you don't want to give more to this lead, but then you don't want to let him just get away with it either. Oh, there's your south. Picked up by Jason. He's going to call Ricci himself.
Yeah, this is a situation where I think Dama was okay as well, because the 5-pin is safe to the dealer reach. You might get someone to drop it, but Jason also just needs points. And so
that's true.
Throws the Ricci stick out.
Gotta spend points to make points here. Even more, but the 5-mon's gonna come out first, and that'll be Richinomi for Matthias, with a sizable pot though, 5,600. More points, not that he really needs them. And with this hand, could be getting even more. 8-pin. You know what? You do need the points if you do want to just smash into first and really just say, this is my division.
Absolutely.
You shall not pass. But now, look at this hand. 6 Anko, a 6-mon Anko. I said that again. 6-mon Anko right now. But you got some other sequences set up and a couple of pairs there as well. Meanwhile, on Jason's end, looking to come back here a little bit more, has the Dora 8-pin. Dora is once again 8-pin. And some other good shapes to help support that. Gonna need a little bit of work to come here. Lin, great presence of the Sozu here. Only needs to drop that 5, and you're on your way to a nice flush. And Sophia, calling the Norths early on, could go for a half flush with Manzu, but we'll see what happens there. You do have some respectable shapes in the other suits.
We'll
see what happens.
Forget Honitsu. Lin might go all out for Chinitsu. Oh, doesn't call the 1s. Wants to play this a little bit more silently. That's quite interesting.
Closed Chinitsu would be even more all out.
I mean, I guess you're right.
And is worth an extra Han if you pull it off.
Yeah, Molly drawing well, though. Ishanten now. Matthias, Ishanten. There's some competition. Now Tenpai for Matthias. 4-7 pin is the weight. Oh, Lin just draws the 1-mon himself. He doesn't need to call from anybody else.
We could see a real game breaker of a hand. Imagine if Matthias deals into it, though I don't really see many scenarios where he would.
Computing whether or not this isn't going to be called for Tenpai. It just draws it. Every time he passes a tile, he draws it himself. So Tenpai for Molly on the 3-6 So. Oh, she draws Matthias's tile, and this will come out and deal in. Matthias keeps it going. 1,500 plus 900 on Homba.
2,400 points total.
And another beautiful high-pie.
65,000. Yes, and you're right. Another great starting hand, especially with that Dora 5-Bon sitting pretty in it. You also got an Anko of the East now. This is just ridiculous. But Matthias is definitely going to capitalize on it. Jason, meanwhile, you have a sequence in the Pinzu locked in and also the Manzu. Some good other shapes coming in as well. You might have a chance at breaking this one. I'm not sure at this point. Lin's got an Anko of the Souths, meanwhile, and which is Yaku High for them. This could be your Honitsu as well, if you go for that. And meanwhile, Molly has a sequence in the Sozu and some other good shapes, but I'd say this probably needs the most work. You do have a Dora 5, so don't lose hope.
I had spent a lot of time thinking about whether to make the efficient play of dropping that Dora right back or do something else. Decided to throw away the 3-1 Kanchan, trying to make use of that Dora in this hand. Still attempting to use it in some form. Seeking value. Because Chun only is not really what you're looking for here in South 2. Reach from Jason, though. Reach Pinhu. Waiting on
4 or the 7, so.
Which has 4 left in the wall. Matthias.
7. Yeah.
2 away from Tenpai here. Doesn't really need to push against this 4th place, but might just want to keep pressing forward. Doesn't really have anything safe except for the East Anko, and we've seen Matthias play very defensively. So not terribly surprising to see that come out.
Yeah. Lin's going to hang on to a couple of Manzu tiles, probably not looking to get mixed up into this now.
Yeah, we could have seen Matthias Tenpai at this point, but we've seen him do this before. Play around a little bit, find Tenpai another way, and now back into Ishanten, just like that.
Right. Amazing how he can get that to work. And dropping that Anko of the Easts, too. Again, just leaving all your honors by the wayside and going in a completely different direction.
Throws
I guess
away.
When you're in Matthias's situation, you can definitely take that risk. 2 Anko now.
Played extremely safely. Again, the one so wasn't a bad discard, but wasn't willing to push it. Dropped the guaranteed save 5/6 instead, but still back into Ishanten. The wall just says, I want you to win. It just isn't giving the final tile needed for Tenpai here, which is one of the Manzu tiles. Anything from 3 through 7 would work.
3 would be Sananko.
It would potentially, yeah.
Insane.
Interestingly, we haven't seen the 4-7 come out yet for Jason. Still 3 in the wall.
9. No, not quite.
Best step by.
There we go. He drops the 3. Or
yeah, chooses to drop the Suji tile. Cannot win on that one so because there's no Yaku here. A little sad.
Switching to the 1 pin now. Can't call Ricci because it's too late. But it'll get Tenpai points here. 1,000 for Matthias, Lin, and Jason. As Matthias continues this long stand as dealer.
Yeah, if anybody's wondering about whether it's proper to play full defense or full aggression, take a look at what Matthias did in that round. It was a defensive aggression, which is quite well played. The Mawashi dance from Matthias ended up finding Tenpai in the end.
But this hand, I'm not so sure this continues the dealer run. Might push a little bit, but otherwise, I think he tries to let go of the dealer peg here. Meanwhile, I was looking at Sophia's hand because she started off with 4 pairs. I was going to call an early 8 so. to possibly steer this towards, well, something else. Could be Toy Toy, perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah. Jason also called an early green dragon. That's going to angle him towards Honitsu here. Really, you just need something to keep yourself going. 8-pin is the door. I feel like it's been that a lot. You see 2 of them in Lin's hand right now. With an Anko of the 5-so already there, this hand is very competitive.
Yeah, it looks very Tanyao. Tanyao Sanchoku door 2 would be excellent.
Mm.
Molly, of course, with the other pair of Dora, so do we say Mochi Mochi for that as well? It is difficult to call
suppose.
Pone on that. And if I'm Lin, I wonder if I call that 7 and push for the Tanyao. Oh, pair of Chun is excellent for Jason. Now this Honitsu looks
Very nice.
very real. And more pairs drawn by Matthias now, up to 5. Hasn't been able to call Pone yet because, well, Molly's been holding them, the East and the Haku. Haku
The
not
last piece.
coming out.
Pom.
Okay, now one of them will. And Matthias
Pone called by. Yeah.
does not take it. Says it's too late. I'm going for Chitoy now.
Hmm. There's the other 5. Jason, meanwhile, has everything else purged from his hand. Gonna pick up that Chun and immediately put the 9-pin over to Molly. Now she's Tenpai as well. 8-pin 4-so.
I might have been encouraged.
Crazy back and forth here.
Yeah. Is Matthias going to push for this, I wonder? I mean, the 8-so doesn't work for Chitoy. You can see all the other 3 in the left. And if that's the case, you might want to throw out the White Dragon sooner rather than later because it almost looks like it could be a Shosangan on the right. If Jason perhaps were to pair up, draw the final White Dragon, he might end up on that as a Tonki.
But you see one of them cut. Only one of them cut. But, yeah, so you know he might have a White Dragon. In fact, now he does. He's going to go ahead and drop it, though, and Matthias is going to pick it up, and now things are much easier for him.
So how Matthias has found Tenpai. 2-5.
In the 5.
Furi 10.
Yeah, Furi 10, but, well, stranger things have happened.
Well, we can
including in this dealer run, which is up to its 5th Honba.
We can see he's not going to win this hand unless there is a 5th 2 or 5 in the wall, which I'm sure is not the case. Oh no, the 4 might come out for Choi Toy.
He's going to do it. Roan called by last place off of first place for Hatsu Chun Honitsu. A very much needed 10,000 points for Jason. And honestly, just kind of a ding in the armor for Matthias.
Yeah, still 56,000 is quite good. Jason starts with a pair of Dora, Green Dragon.
Yeah, very nice start there. Also an Anko of the 9s and a good sequence of 1, 2, 3 in the Pinzu. This could turn into a Chanta in some cases. Lin, we're seeing kind of a similar story, also has the 1, 2, 3 Pinzu. And some good sequences in the Manzu as well. Some good shapes in the other suits as well. As Sophia, or Molly, has a... called the Souths pretty early on. Has a good shape going in the Sozu, but that's really about it for this hand. And Matthias, Anko of the 8-mon, and some good shapes in this as well. But, that 9-pin is going to really... I believe we're Isha 10 now.
Unfortunately for Matthias, this is likely to be Atozuke on the Haku, but it's drawn.
Unless this white comes out, and there it is.
All right, Atozuke dodged. I wonder if one of these Yanmen from the pin or so will come out. Yeah, there goes the pin shape. Just because you can think of, you need a pair, right? So you can think of the 8-mon as your pair and have a 7-8 shape as well. Or you can also accept the 7-mon to be your pair, and that is very efficient.
Pick up the 6-mon, and yeah, you'd have the 8s ready.
Yeah, anything 6, 7, 9 will work.
Each.
Obarichi on the right from Lin. Ricci
5 and
Pinfu.
the 8. 5 and 8, so yes.
Just like
Of
that,
course, is that.
Matthias finds Tempai on the 7 that was just discarded.
Good going there.
Nothing really safe in Matthias's hands, so just push.
Yep.
Hope that someone else drops a 7 so.
1
Jason also joining the Ricci frenzy, waiting on the 6-mon.
相撲
That'll be Sumo for Lin, picking up the 8. So, for Ricci, Sumo, Pinfu, no Ura. But again, that's going to be a simple hand that ends Jason's dealer run here prematurely, just as we saw in the East round when he was in a rather similar position, unfortunately. But we're moving on to all last now is South 4. The door is 2-mon, and in this opening hand for the dealer, a lot of good shapes forming up for Sozu.
Look to the left.
But, oh yeah.
Pairs
Look at
just
that,
drawn.
pairs.
West paired up, Chun paired up. And this
Green
looks like
and the red. Yes, Southwest green and red.
it's Ishan 10 for Chitoi Honitsu.
Chitoi Honitsu. That would be insane. And it looks like he's going to angle at least towards the Honitsu part of that. We'll see if the Chitoi works out. Molly, meanwhile, well, I thought that was an Anko. It isn't. It's close, though. You have a sequence in the Manzu and some other shapes starting to form up there. And Matthias, that's the Anko of the 7-pin. A lot of good shapes there as well. So we have a lot of pretty competitive hands at play here.
Look at all the honors that have been cut. The Haku, the East, the North. None of which... Okay, now Haku drawn into hand.
Ooh. For Jason, yeah. This could be... It could be Honitsu, Chitoi, Shosangen.
Oh no, the last
Well,
Haku
not
comes
anymore.
out.
There's
Yeah, I'm
only
not
one.
sure I'm a fan of the 4-mon cut because I want to keep the pairs in my hand. Keep the Ishan 10 for the Chitoi. But I'm amazed that none of these honors have come out. Now this could shift into a Chanta.
Yeah.
And the other players have no idea what's going on in this hand, probably. Just based off of the discards.
Crazy. There's a pair for your 7. Dropping the 4.
So back into Chitoi Ishan 10.
ポン
Incredible.
Okay, now first
but
Pong made.
No more Chitoi. Pawn made.
Still
Go for
Chanta
perhaps-
available.
And still Honitsu available.
Have been ignoring all the other hands. Dealers Ishan 10 for Reach Ping Fudora 1. Oh, I think I like the 8-9 cut there for Toy Toy, Honitsu, and
Yeah.
some type of
I
Yakuhai.
mean, you need to just mitigate as much of a loss as possible. If you went for Toy Toy, you would have had a good
Boom.
chance of catching Lin if you hit it off of them. But now he's going to make another call of the Hatsu, now Tenpai for South and the Red Dragon.
So it'll be Yakuhai, Honitsu Chanta for a Mangan, which currently isn't enough to get out of 4th place unless you Tsumo or hit Molly.
Or hit Lin, you think?
Oh yeah, or hit Lin,
Oh,
I
no,
guess.
you're right. I didn't even see that. I didn't even see. Yeah. Molly
So I guess you
not too
can't
far
hit
away.
Matthias here.
No, you don't want to do that. You want to aim at the other 2.
Tenpai though for Lin, this is an incredibly expensive hand, but the Tsumo found for,
Ooh, picks up a Sumo.
and that's what he needed.
Here you go. 8,000 points, easy.
What a sparkling hand for Lin there.
Yeah, good hand for Lin.
Oh, sorry,
23.
for Jason.
For Jason, yeah, to move into 3rd, that's good. Unfortunately, everybody is below 30k, so Matthias, the only one going to gain points off this with an impressive 53,900 points for 43.9 UMA score. I believe that gets you right into 1st, as we will see the leaderboard update shortly. Lin losing 6 points, Jason losing 13, and Sophia losing 24 in this case. Sophia, I keep saying Sophia. That's
Molly, of course.
Same person, yeah.
And there's
So
the update. As you predicted, Matthias jumps 2nd climbs right into first place. 192 points.
That can still change, though. We have one more game to go with these four. Matthias and Lynn, that's going to be the matchup to watch, because whoever wins this takes the league. Will take the league lead here
In this division.
And yeah, this is actually. I mean, I think this is the last session. I think, right?
I believe
For
they...
B2.
Well, I believe there should be one more. Of course, most
There-
divisions
probably
will
right.
get a snaked round.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You're right. Yeah, I forgot about that. So
The snaked
yeah,
round, of
you
course,
see out of 24. So
based off of your placement, you will determine your table will be determined in the final round. So placement actually a little bit important here in this penultimate round.
So we're going to most likely see these two then fight each other for next session too. Then I'd imagine.
Yeah, if they stay 1-2 here, I believe we will. And let me just check
Yeah.
the snaked here. Okay,
One heck of
they
a
would need to
showdown.
be. They would not actually be playing each other.
Oh, okay.
According to the way this snake is working, it looks like first place will not be playing any of the top 5. So actually unlikely that we'll see these play each other, but
Gotcha.
would be nice to.
Unless Lynn has Lynn or Matthias has a really bad game coming up here.
And it doesn't seem like that's possible with the
Yeah.
with the way they're playing right now. Very impressive.
True.
Actually,
yes.
watching all of these players has been quite fun, and looking forward to seeing
Absolutely.
this last one. We're about a minute away from that start.
I believe this now means. Well, no, Molly will still remain in 18th. She hasn't quite passed me yet. So we'll see. And Jason staying just above the demotion line there as well with that negative 63.4. Still a great, still great moves there from Jason. We'll see if he can keep things up and stay out of harm's way moving into the snake round.
I mean, I imagine it's been a little bit frustrating to play at this table because Lynn and Matthias have just been playing so well and winning these monster hands. It's impossible to keep up with that.
Yeah, in politics, I do a bit of journalism, and that's what they call taking the oxygen out of the room. It's just all being consumed by these two.
Yes.
Like no one else is getting really much of a shot because it's just these two titans just going at it, Which is great for us to watch, but probably frustrating to play against.
Yeah, I'll bet. Previously we saw the players just hop straight into the match right away, and now we've had a couple minutes delay, so perhaps the players taking a bit of a breather. Oops.
Let's go ahead. Too.
And
this is a lot of mahjong to go in one sitting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so impressed by the players who have the endurance to just charge the matches one after the other. It looks like we'll be stepping into the next game right here.
Brought to you by Tenno.
And
here we go.
Started.
Here we go. East 1. Matthias is our opening dealer this time. The Dora is south. And we see some great shapes in the Manzu right now. Some pairs and a sequence already locked in. Molly will be our starting south seat with a couple pairs of her own, picking up a good sequence in the Manzu as well. And as my screen updates here, Jason is our starting west, and an Anko of the 4-so, and some good sequences locked in as well at the moment. And Lynn, our starting north, has some sequences already locked in as well. So good competition all around here. Hands really coming together in this hand.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be interesting to see how Molly plays this with that south, the Dora, lonely Dora sitting in hand. I thought after drawing this 6 mon that she might shift to a Chi-Toy having 5 pairs, but instead drops the 3 pin, so leaning more towards the Tanya route, and now the south comes out.
Very nice.
This, of course,
and Molly Molly making a call into Tanyao now. And I believe that's
Yeet.
Tenpai waiting on the 5 or the 8.
Dong.
And there's the 8. If you would have called Ricci, it would have been Ipatsu. But a quick 1,000 points for Molly to really get things off on the right foot.
Yeah, prevent
these
any of
two.
the larger hands from coming to play.
Yes, absolutely. And some good momentum starting as you're in your dealer turn here. 7 pin is the Dora. And we're seeing a good couple sequences already locked in on this hand. So very nice. You could turn this into Manzu if your Pinzu don't cooperate. She might be trying to see if you can slot one into those even spaces there, though. Jason, meanwhile, Ipeco chance definitely here, unless you do something with that 7 pin you just picked up. Lin, meanwhile, great presence of the Manzu here. I'm not seeing much happening in the other suits right now, so you may opt for a flush of some kind. And Matthias already has a sequence, 7, 8, 9 in Sozu and Pinzu. Nothing much happening in the Manzu at the moment, though, so could just be going for a Chanta here.
Absolutely the play. Ishan 10 for the Chanta, in fact.
Hmm.
And that's why we saw the 1 mon being retained over the 6 mon and the 3 pin.
Boom.
That's right. You don't want to let go of that right away. In fact, now he's Tenpai on that 1 mon, as Molly joins immediately with Ricci. Waiting on the 6 mon, 9 mon. 6 would be Ipeco.
Matthias makes the read. 1 mon is the safer discard here.
Now he's waiting on the 9 mon. What do you do with that 3? Well, you drop it. Okay.
Pushing. Okay, Haku, Chanta, Dora, 13900 feels that's worth fighting this dealer hand with, especially early on.
We didn't mention Jason's got 3 Dora.
Oh, yeah. That
Anko of the Dora. And a very powerful Tanyao, but it'll be a double roan with that 9 mon. For Haku, Chanta, Dora, this is for Matthias, gaining 4,900. And Ricci, Kinfu, and Noura, 2,900s for Molly. And since she was one of the winners, she will continue on as dealer.
very pretty hands.
2. Yes, pretty hands all around. Another Ipeco shot for Molly coming up here with that 3, 4, 5 in Sozu. You also got some other pairs, though, so you could make some magic with that as well. In fact, that's Ishan 10 for Chitoi.
It is.
Go that route. Jason, meanwhile, Anko of the 1s. Some good shapes in the other suits as well. Things looking pretty nice there. And Lin.
Molly's made her decision. No Chitoi for me. This is a Toy Toy.
Oh, yeah, and that's coming together very quickly with a 9 and a North call there.
Oh, the Toy Toy
And
dash
now
is
5.
working.
Now Shanpon on 3 and 4. She's going to make a streak happen here, so help her. We were talking about this Battle of the Titans with Matthias and Lin. Sophie is like, don't count me out. Don't count me out.
Yeah, there's enough food to make this 3,900, so not a bad start. Plus the homebao would be 42. Would bring Molly up to 37-1.
Now a difficult choice for Jason. Well, he's going to call Ricci and drop the 1. Not that difficult of a choice.
C button,
7
hit the
and
button.
4. Yep, 7 and 4 is the wait for this reach.
Yeah, Molly very vulnerable here. Can't really do anything but push anything that she draws. But at the same point, so is Jason. He can't help but drop the 3 or the 4 as well. So which one will be drawn first? You can see there's only 1 4 so left for Molly's weight. And as far as 4-7 pin is concerned, there are 6. So 6 versus 1 right now in Jason's favor.
Wow. Crazy how that works sometimes.
The current discards.
Happens.
Yeah, I wonder how the other players will react to this. As far as finding a safe suit against both players, because both players are Tenpai. Pin looks kind of safe against Molly. And maybe half safe against Jason. Oh, 6 pin was a great draw. If you're going to draw a Pinzu child, draw a Nakasuji.
Yeah, there you go.
If it's not full Genbutsu, Nakasuji works. Lin with a momentary disconnect got back just in time.
Oh, it's nerve-wracking when that happens.
And
Matthias collecting those 7-pin.
yes, that
Am I
means
reading?
we're down to 5 versus 1 at this point.
20 tiles to go in the wall.
Just have the feeling any moment Jason's going to sumo this, but it puts a lot of pressure on Lin and Matthias to defend properly here. 9 pins should be safe.
Gotta stay on your toes. 10 tiles to go.
Sumo.
And there it is.
Oh, picks up the 4.
Reached
Or
sumo.
Riichi Sumo.
No Ura, but
No
the
Ura.
nice pickup for Jason.
Good. 3,300 points. Puts him in a rather crowded spot for the lead now. Matthias still technically in the lead with about 3,000 points.
Boom.
But the other players not terribly far behind as we move into East 3. The door is 2 Mon. We see 2 of those already in Jason's hand. Some good shapes here as well for the other suits, especially for Sozu. Picking up that 2 Mon's going to help as well. Lin, meanwhile, called the Souths very early on. That's the Seat Wind, and well, we see a hand that could probably benefit from any bit of value here. Probably waiting for that 2 Mon to show up. Matthias has an Anko in the 8 So, and some sequences in the Manzu. That 4 is really going to help those out. And Molly has a pair in the 1 pin. Some good sequences in the edges of here. I said it was going to go for Chanta, but decides probably something different here.
Oh, interesting choice now for Matthias. Had all the shapes set, but now you can incorporate a second Dora and make Ipeco as well. So we might see the 6-7 Mon come out. In fact, it does.
There's the 7, and it's called by Sophia.
Boom.
And another call.
5, 6, 7 Sanshoku is going to be the Yaku here. It took me a second.
See. Yeah, me too. You still need that last one from both.
Oh, no.
There's an 8. Oh.
I think you usually just throw that 8 right back out and hope that you get to redraw the 5 or get to call it. This is...
Yeah. Before you make it your last tile.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the play is going to be now. I think Matthias has been shifting to be able to call for Tanyao, but I almost preferred the original shapes.
Chi.
Does call into Tempai, though. Oh, no, it doesn't accept the Tempai. So, Sui Shanten here wants another Dora, wants to get a little bit more value out of this. In the meantime, Jason has been able to progress to Ishanten. And another call for Lin now, Tempai in the 4-7.
All coming to a head.
If we chi this for Tempai, then we're going to lose.
Oh, and there we go.
Fairly inexpensive hand, though. Only 1,000 points is not a bad hit for Matthias. And it does move us into East 4.
If anything, that just really evens things back out. Now it's an even tighter race for the lead as Matthias drops to 33,300. East 4 goes on now. The Dora is 8 So. See a pair of the Souths in this hand. That's not really Yaku, but thought I'd point that out because there's really not much else happening in this hand right now. You do have a 4-5, maybe a hint of Sanshoku in there, but we'll see what happens. Matthias, meanwhile, great presence of the Sozu, has a sequence already locked in on that suit, and some other good things happening. East pair is going to help things out too. Molly has a couple sequences across with one already locked in and one almost locked in. And Jason, 3 pairs in the Pinzu already set, and can make some magic with that for sure.
There's the call. So I was wondering if Matthias would start to push for this, and does indeed make that decision. That is Dora 3, so it makes a lot of sense. It doesn't have to be Honitsu still. You can call the east and have your Yaku that way.
Home.
And there is the
Right.
call.
And there is the east.
So it looks like it will not be the Honitsu unless something around this 3-so gets drawn before you find your next hand shape improvement.
Yeah, otherwise you just have that 3-so just sitting out
Well,
there. But there you go. That's the kind of improvement you were looking for, perhaps.
I could totally understand dropping the 6-7 so here, but Matthias goes full creed. East Honitsu Dora 3 is Haneman. Could go headless with a pawn here. In fact, does choose to do so.
Oh man, here we go.
One of the tricky things is the 6-7 shape is a little bit weak because you can see 3 of the 8s and 1 of the 5s, and you assume 5s are being used in the other hands as well. And so one of the benefits of this call is that you could pair up the 6 or the 7 and no longer have that weaker Dianmen shape. Yeah, this is really exciting. Will Matthias pull out to an early lead again? I'm seeing the 8 light up. That means Tempai cross away from Molly, but she does not want this Riichi Dora 1 with a sort of awkward 8-mon. Especially when you can see that Matthias is going for such a monster of a hand.
Yeah.
One of the
Lin has the tile that could help Lin out here, perhaps. The 5, but no, gonna draw it. Doesn't matter. So now you just drop either the 2 or the 3. Drops the 2, so now waiting on the 3. And we only see one of those out right now. It's in Sophia's hand. Not likely to be discarded. That's a Tenpai hand, so you're not going to see that much of a change.
Oh, is West a good Tonki? 1-2 cut. So it'd be a hell weight on the West. Yeah, it's...
Yeah. I was thinking that too.
Oh, no!
Oh, that would have been it! Oh, no!
Still 2-3 Sanzo on the wall.
I mean,
2 of the Sanzo in the
pure
wall. Pure
probability, yeah, you drop the West, but you don't expect it to come up right then.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, speaking of probabilities.
Tenpai for dealer. Yeah, dropping this 7 to reach for the 7 and the 4.
Riichi Nomi. It's interesting as dealer fighting with Riichi Nomi against a Haneman. The 8 is drawn by Molly.
Impressive.
It chooses to wait on the east now. That's dead, so now switch up to the 3. Oh no, the 3 does come out.
Drop it. That'll be a Haneman for Matthias. Ton Honitsu Dora 3 for 13,000 points. And there you go. An early lead, but it happens right at the half. South 1 beginning now. The Dora is 6-so. Saw one of those off in Lin's hand just as we moved over here. That could fit into Matthias's hand as well. We see a couple of pairs right now. One in the White Dragon and one in the 5. That's really all there is to this hand right now, and those first couple draws aren't very promising, but we'll see what happens. Molly, meanwhile, has a pair in the 9-mon, with some other sequences starting to form up here, gradually. It's got some work to do, though. Jason, a couple pairs, and a Anko in the Sozu. Well, actually 3 pairs now. 4 if you break up one of those Sozu, so that could turn to something here. And Lin has some great sequences forming up in this hand. This looks very competitive. Not too far off. I believe that's Rian Shanten at this point.
And we'll see if Matthias chooses to open up as soon as a Haku comes out. I imagine so, given there's not a lot of value otherwise in his hand. So speed is probably the name of the game here. So Molly with a bit of an awkward hand that wants to be like a Junchan Sanchoku. But then you've got that 6-so Dora, and you'd also want to use that in some form. Ishanten now for Lin.
Lin picking up the Anko of a 7-mon.
Boom.
I like the 3-pin cut.
Do you like the 3-pin call by Jason?
That is a Toy push.
Yeah.
And I always forget that Toy is a Yaku, so. But I know.
You'd have to break up that almost formed sequence, so I think that's a pretty easy cut.
Hey, there's a Dora draw from Matthias, and now an Ishan 10 that incorporates the Dora.
Oh, yeah. Matthias's hand coming along nicely.
Yeah, this is kind of awkward for Lin, but finds the efficient route. So multiple ways to get to Tenpai here. Ishan 10 still.
Polish off that 5-6. Or fill in the end of your Sozu there.
And you can also draw into an Anko of the 9 Mon or the 2, 9 So, or the 2 Mon.
Home.
Yeah, interesting.
Called.
Matthias dropping the 4 there instead of something like the 8-pin. Could have used the Haku as a pair, but he's really angling to be able to use to call the Haku, rather. Oh, there's the Anko drawn.
Each.
So we'll see a Riichi Dora 1, waiting on 4-7 pin.
There's the 4-pin picked up now.
And we've seen Matthias play defensively.
Defensively there, yeah.
Yeah.
Good read.
Oh, but he's Tenpai now. We might see it push now.
And he does.
Go.
Always don't pass up a chance to roan off the leader. Riichi Dora 1. Not a terribly expensive hand, but that will give some points to Lin. And maybe bring Matthias a little bit closer for those who want to catch him.
In the end, it wasn't that expensive of a hint, so Matthias probably not too upset about that.
Points are points, and there's still quite a bit of game left to be played here as we head into South 2. The Dora is 9 So. One of those is in Molly's hand getting started, along with some other good shapes and sequences set up in the Sozu. That pair of the Manzu is going to help as well. Jason, meanwhile, a pair in the Souths, I should say. Sequence in the Sozu.
Passed up the first call, in fact, and we see a Riichi from Lin.
Oh, these hands are coming together very quickly. I believe Lin is now waiting on the 3-6 or... Oh, no, just the 8.
And we'll see a Riichi, I'm sure, from Jason here. Oh. I'm rather surprised. It would have been Riichi 3-sided.
Very interesting, yeah.
But he sees another route. He can make Tanyao out of this instead. It's very wide for a Tanyao Tenpai. And even wider yet.
It's a good way to maneuver around this early reach, I'd say.
Could Chi into Tenpai, but declines that as well. Wants a little bit more value.
Matthias picking up another sequence in his hand. So as a 6 Mon just kind of sitting out there.
Jason now Tenpai in the 5-pin, but chooses not to reach.
I think Matthias is switching to defensive mode here.
That would make a lot of sense. Oh, here we go. There's the Riichi. Not going to wait any longer.
Just the 5-pin. You'd hope of waiting a little bit would make it be a little bit easier wait, but not so this time.
Yeah, ideal draw would have been the 7-pin there. Give you a chance at Sanshoku. Riichi Sanshoku Tanyao would have been amazing. Right now, just Riichi Tanyao. Then probably feeling a little bit nervous to get chased by a Riichi. Usually that's a better weight. And speaking of getting chased, Molly chooses the 7-Mon Tanki for Riichi Dora 1.
Which there's only one left in the wall.
So one of those versus 2 8-Sos versus 3 5-pins. 1v2v3. But the 7-So is drawn. The 1 wins.
There it is.
From Molly's
Sometimes
perspective,
the odds just don't matter.
Yeah, from Molly's perspective, that was a 1 versus 5, but she managed to pull it out, and so that will even things around 2nd through 4th.
Yeah, she'll be moving into 3rd now with that move. South 2 continues. The Dora is west. And we see Tooth South's also in this hand.
Boom.
There's not a whole lot. Well, calling it will give you an instant Yaku. And now a 1-2-3 in Sozu and a 1-2 in Pinzu. Could be something there. Jason, meanwhile, has Ipeco chance forming up. In fact, there is your Ipeco picking up the 9.
Boom.
Very nice development there. Lin, meanwhile, I was about to say Sanshoku, but that's not a 5. That's a 3. I can read. And, well, you could have it with that 8. So I take that back. We'll see what happens. Matthias just picking up that white dragon pretty early on. The rest of this hand is a little bit to be desired. You got that pair, but that's really about it right now. Oh, but there's your sequence in Sozu. So things looking up.
Ishanten there, but Molly finds Tempai, and Matthias in a little bit of trouble. At 4, Mon does not fit the hand just yet, so unless he draws a 3 or a 5, Mon likely to deal in. And there we go.
Dong.
Just
non-only.
Yeah, 1500.
That's all you need to stay on as dealer. We continue again. 2 Honba now, with the Dora being 1 pin. We see one of those in this hand, in fact, along with 4 pairs already set. That might be the route you go, is 7 pairs. We'll see, though. Jason, meanwhile, with a pair of the Norths and some other tiles kind of scattered here and there. You do have a 1-2-3 sequence with an extra 2 thrown in for good measure. Lin, meanwhile, a couple of pairs already set. There's not a whole lot else happening in this hand right now. Well, you got a pair in the white dragons as well. Matthias now has a sequence in Manzu and a sequence in Sozu. So there's 2 already set. He might have what it needs to convert in this case.
Well, that draw certainly helps. Interesting. No call of the Haku from Lin. There wasn't even any hesitation, so I don't think calls are on. Maybe they're turned on now that the first Haku has passed. But Molly Tempai chooses not to reach.
Interesting. 8 or the red.
She found a couple of sparkling draws in a row. The 3-pin and then the 8-mon. I think I'd be willing to throw the stick out here.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you still need points. And I'm not sure how you really improve this weight or the hand in any easy way without dropping out of Tenpai.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. If you draw the 9-mon, then you're waiting on the 7-pin, which is terrible. Draw the 7, then you have the 6-9 weight, but you lose out on the Chuna's possible Yaku.
And... but there was the 8-pin just coming out from Jason's hand.
Yeah, and can't win on it because of no reach, so we might see the reachy now.
Yeah.
Each.
Yeah, there we
go. Meanwhile, it looks like we got another Tenpai on Matthias's end with the 3 and the 6 waiting now.
Had called into Tenpai with the 2, so going for the Itsu as the Yaku. So that will only win on the 6, so. Have yet to see the Chun yet. Oh, well, speaking of which, Lin draws it, but Lin is folding, has committed to, well, I guess, is technically Ishan Tenpai now, so maybe not committed.
You drop that red.
Each.
Yeah.
Gonna call Ricci.
It makes a lot of sense, and it has to come out now.
And that will help continue this dealer reign of Molly.
Oh.
As she picks up a sweet Mangan with that Uradora. 15,500 points. Now just 1,800 away from the lead. So we go to our 3rd Honba in this South 2.
And maybe that was the play. Don't declare the reach so that you don't have to call Roan on the 8-pin, so that you get to call Roan on the Chun when it comes out later. That's the big brain play.
Wow. If that was the case, well done. And you've got 2 Dora in this starting hand as kind of perhaps the wall looking out for you, thinking, yeah, that's a good move.
And a Haku to be able to call and speed the hand up as well. So this is looking quite nice. Interesting dropping the pair so early, but playing multiple blocks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Just wider shapes.
Make a quick hand, just smash into the lead here. You don't need to totally leave Matthias in the dust just yet. Just get up there, is the thought process here, I'd imagine.
Little trouble though. Across the table, Lin has drawn into a pair of the Haku as well, which
Oh,
means calling is probably not going to happen for Molly at this point. The other hands around the table are looking pretty good too. Jason regretting the early discard of the Hatsu as he drew two more after that. Probably going to make a Ricci and hopefully like a Sananko if you could draw some more 3/6 souls. Across the table, again, that Haku East pair, 8 Mon pair, 2 So pair, and another Anko drawn. So this is looking potentially expensive. You could keep drawing Ankos like that. And to the left, this is a very standard Tanyao hand, of course. Not seeing a Pinhu just yet, but that could easily change.
Definitely liking the prospects of a Sananko, perhaps, for Lin here, especially picking up that 8-mon. There's your Sananko there.
Sananko Tenpai not declaring the reach because he wants Suanko.
Oh, wow. But again, will that white come out? And I don't see that coming out of Sophia's hand.
Yeah, would need to draw into another pair and then sumo that other pair as well, because if the tile is discarded, it won't win. At least won't be the Suanko.
We should note, however, 2 and 5 is what Matthias is waiting on. 2/5 Mon. Is that true?
No, that
right?
3/6 now. And here's the question: will Lin call Roan here?
No.
Oh, he does.
Oh, it was 2/5 from. That's right. Okay.
Right. I wonder. Yeah, if you're willing to call the Roan there, I think you just take the Ricci at that point.
Yeah, I think so. If you just want to lay it up and get some points flowing to you.
It's a really tough situation because you were in fourth at that point with 1100, I think.
And you still are.
Yeah. And so I the greed for the Suanko is certainly understandable and defendable. I wonder if you can make the decision, if I go for the Suanko, then I'm not calling Roan. And it was starting to get late, and I wonder at which point you just decide to take the Ricci anyway. Yeah, I that's one of those hands that I think, after the game is over, I would, as a player, go back and look and analyze and make sure I have my thoughts straight on that one. Because as of now, I don't even know what the correct play is. So
you got to start thinking about the play now, though, and taking a look at these hands. We have some very big ones coming our way. Lin's immediately jumps out at me. Look at all those Pinzu. And they're all like pretty well stacked together in pairs. You could get an Ipeco, you could get a Chitoi. A lot of possibilities here. Meanwhile, our dealer seems to be angling towards Toy Toy. You have the 7 So already called, 6 Mon already called as well. 8, the pair is already set in there as well. So definitely a lot of places this can go. Lin making a definitive step towards flush of some sort. Could be Chinitsu at this point, for all we know.
On the left, Molly called twice for Junchan, but it doesn't have to be Junchan. We've seen a spicy Chinroto before. That 4 So is such an awkward draw. You can't use it. Just throw it back. And here,
you don't want that to make you 4-10 at the end.
Exactly. So it's better to drop it now so that if the 1 So comes out of Matthias's hand, you can call it safely. And okay, now we might turn it to Toy Toy Chanta.
I don't look much at Matthias's hand. He's already called the 7 Mon. And
can call this into Tenpai.
Yeah.
That doesn't want it,
though.
Not to. Yeah, Lin also could have called that 6 Mon with a 4/5. And had some nice shapes left over for a potential what is the word I'm looking for? Chinitsu.
We've got Tenpai for Jason, though. On the 8 Mon White Dragon. Here's a White Dragon drawn, and Lin's going to make the right call and not discard it. Matthias waiting on the 3-pin now.
Molly reading that the 3-pin is dangerous and not dropping it just yet.
We have some very good defensive-minded players at this table,
Don't.
I just gotta say. Unfortunately, right as I say that, but at that point, you don't really know what you're going to drop. So there you go. 3-pin sends us to all last. But still a lead for Molly.
Yeah, that was definitely that was actually might have been the best thing that she could have done.
You know what? You're right. Thinking back,
there were two monster hands that were Tempai or Ishanten. And
it's a miracle to come out of that situation unscathed and even just being a little scathed.
Right.
So there you go. All last now. Lynn, just as we saw Molly with in the last game, Lynn is now got the mountain to climb. The door is west, and you're seeing a pretty good sequence starting to form up in the Pinzu. It still has some work to do, though. Matthias, look at those pairs of reds and whites, and fives, and 3 Mon. So you have a lot of opportunities here. Molly has a sequence already locked. Got 2 of them, in fact. And on the left, for Jason, look at those Manzu. Very nice looking right now. All kind of nice and close together. You could even play this very quickly if you want to just keep the Sozu sector in there. But I think he's going to try for a few more points than that.
Yeah, could have even called that 8-mon for an awkward Tempai, but I think it is wise to pass and try to declare Ricci.
Chi.
You have some concealed potential here, and it's still pretty early in this hand.
Yeah, that hand is Ishanten, so... Oh, this is a Tempai, but it's not a good one. Yeah, it doesn't want it. Okay. We'll fight for a little bit more value. Now, Matthias, of course, is begging. Please, Haku, Chun, come out. Give me my Tempai for 1,000 points.
Wow.
And
that's crazy. Oh, there's a 6.
Can she for Tempai?
Ricci.
Yeah, he's going for it. All right, Molly. Will the Haku come out? It's the one tile that doesn't really fit that well in the hand.
But with a Ricci like this and another very possible Tenpai on the board, that gets very scary, especially with no other whites cut.
West is defendable here.
Home.
Oh, we'll call.
Gonna call it. Does it come out now? It does. And that'll be it for this game. Matthias taking the final score here, moving just into the lead ahead of Sophia by only a few 1,000 and some change.
Yeah.
Matthias taking another 25 points, but Molly seeing some positive action now, 13 points. Jason losing 8 and Lynn losing 30.
So we'll get our final update of the evening any second now. And we'll confirm Matthias's reign in the B2 division at the moment.
There you go. 217.9. That's over 60 past Anya, who is in second at 159.5.
Of course, Anya still has 2 games yet to play in the set, so she could make a run at things herself. And Lynn following behind at plus 139. As well as Pio close behind. So 4 players above the 100 mark currently, but it looks like Riley yet to play, can make a push of his own.
Yep, I'll be playing against him next Saturday.
Excellent. So
he's actually my clubmate here in Oklahoma, Mahjong. So
that's right. So it'll be a clubmate matchup, and of course we would love to get that one broadcasted. Do you know the timing of that matchup?
I can look at that up real quick here, but I believe, let's see, we are playing on both Saturday and Sunday. That is 6 p.m. my time, so 4 p.m. Pacific, and same for that Sunday as well.
So there's a very good chance that one of those games will get broadcasted either on Saturday or Sunday, so I'll definitely be looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I am too. I'm getting psyched. I mean, it's gonna be tough. I've got quite the hole to dig out of here, but definitely seeing some inspiration here. I mean, I saw Molly very well at least maintain her spot there at 18th, not sinking any further down. and you've got the snake round to come back out of this and stay competitive. Possibly even getting out of demotion, perhaps. Jason looks like he's just dropped into it, but only by about 1 point. 1.1 points to be exact. So he definitely has a shot back out. I think we all do at this point.
Absolutely. And so we'll be looking forward to that match in the near future, as well as the round 6 coming up after this current week is all set and finished.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was quite the Labor Day series here. We definitely thank you all for joining on this very nice, relaxing day. Hope you've had a chance to enjoy some outdoors, perhaps grill some Pinzu-shaped burgers on the grill, whatever you like doing on this Labor Day. So,
definitely enjoyed watching these matches. And of course, anybody who has watched this broadcast is interested in participating in the league in the upcoming fall season, there is time to register. The deadline is September 19th, and you can do so at our website, AmericanRicci.org. Of course, you can always follow us at Twitter as well, at AmericanRicci. And if you'd like to see any of our previous broadcasts, they are all available at our YouTube page, which can be found at the link on your screen, tinyurl.com/ARMLYT.
And you can follow me throughout the week and beyond on my Twitter at SB_Singletary. That's the way you can follow my own Mahjong journey, as well as some other fun stuff I run into throughout the week, including a podcast that has nothing to do with Mahjong, but is still pretty cool anyway, so you should check it out. That's what it should be called. We've only done our first episode. It's not too late to change it.
Absolutely. It's certainly a fun title, for sure.
Actually, no. I just changed the name from something else to this, so maybe not.
Maybe. There's like a time limit on the name changes. You have to wait a week before your next one.
You know what? Yeah, let's go with that. It's just a lot of work to change everything over. But, yeah. But I think that'll do it for us here. Any parting thoughts from you, Nathaniel?
Just excellent play. I'm quite interested in actually analyzing some of those matches later, because there were some very interesting decision points. And looking forward to watching some more later.
Mm-hmm. That'll do it for us tonight, though. Thank you for joining in again. I'm Blaine Singletary, and with Nathaniel, both commentating and helping out on the broadcast. Have a good night.